Hi there, and greetings to you from wherever you are watching me from. My name is Ibrahim, and before I start, I would like to let you know that we have a very big channel on Telegram where we post our questions and exercises. It's a channel dedicated for programmers. And so in case you are interested, you may join in the description below. That is where I personally post my exercises and my questions. It's a very big discussion platform for developers, and we help you fix any bug that you may encounter in your programming. So aside that too, I would like to let you know that we are live 24/7 to fix and help solve all your questions. We are beginner friendly as well, so it's a community we are building. If you are interested, you may join us in the description below, but in case you are not interested, you are welcome to watch the video. Hello and welcome to our very first lecture, our very first lesson on HTML. And my name is Ibrahim Yakubu, just as I said, and this is the link to the Telegram platform. All right, so one thing that I want to say even before we start is I am assuming that I am teaching a beginner, so you can be sure that we will hold your hands and we will complete everything in an understandable way, so you are not left out once again. And in case you already have the basics in HTML, you've coded the web with HTML before, you are also welcome to watch this video, because in this video I am going to try my best to show to you some of the key points that help the website to grow. There are some little mistakes that when you do when coding HTML, it can make your website not to even appear on Google search engines and browsers. So I will try my best and show you all those tricks, all those best practices that must be employed to make sure that your website will get will be on the top, will be shown in search engines. All right, I also want to tell you one thing, that I don't intend to take most of your time, but then with the in this shortest possible lectures, I will give you the best. I will make sure that you get what you need to start your coding. And one thing that you are going to expect in this video is I'll personally, after this lecture, you will be able to create your first website. But remember, your website is not going to look stunning, but how it will look like, that is what we want it to look like, so that as we progress, we add things to it so that it becomes what we want. Okay, this is HTML. We are not doing CSS. Very soon we'll be doing CSS to add styling and other things, but for now it is purely HTML. So once again, welcome to. All right, my very first question is, what is a website? Now if we say a website, so many things can come into your mind, but my simple definition for website, and I love it so much, it says that a website is a location on the internet that contains one or more web pages. So an instance of website in our daily life is Facebook, Google, Jumia.com, and other websites that we all know or are familiar of. So what this basically means is, you see, in the normal world, if you want to travel from one location to another, you need a vehicle to go there. And this is the same with website. If you want to go to a particular website, you also need a vehicle, and that is what we call address, internet address. You cannot say you want to go to Facebook and input in the address bar google.com. Facebook and Google is not the same. They are uniquely identified by their address. So address makes it possible to visit the location. All right, let us move on to the next one. It says that web technologies. It makes sense for us to take a look at the web technology so that we will know what we will be doing and where we are going. So first on the list is HTML. You see, HTML is used for building the structure of a website. Yes, that is what HTML is all about. HTML is the structuring language. That is what we use to build a website. That is the foundation. Without HTML, there's no website. So HTML exists so that the creation of a website will be made possible. We have CSS. CSS is for styling. if you learn CSS, or when we start learning CSS, we will do amazing things. So CSS is for styling the website. It's just to add flesh, make beautification, move the text, displays, change the button from one side to the other, change the background color, the text color. That is what CSS is all about. Okay, we have JavaScript. JavaScript is a programming language for websites. So now JavaScript is everywhere, but when we get there, we will dive deeper. So for now, let's say that is for websites, as we are beginners. So JavaScript is used to program the behavior of a website. An instance of this is, you see, when you go to any website, you visit any website, you see a button like maybe login or just sign out. When you click on that button, there's an action that is triggered. You see, when you click on logout button, automatically you are logged out. So the interactions and then the behaviors of the website is programmed with JavaScript. And we have other one that we call PHP. That one is for a server-side rendering. PHP helps us to handle the back end of our website. So with PHP, what it does is, PHP, you can go to Facebook, or okay, let's better use Facebook because that's what most of us are familiar with. If you go to Facebook and then you type in your email or phone and then your password, you click on the login. When you click on the login, you don't know what happened. You just, after some time of loading, then your page changes to the timeline, like your profile session of the Facebook, like you've been logged in. The service that is responsible for that is PHP. PHP makes sure that it logs you into the account, and what it does is it just sends some services, connections, commands to the database for the database to fetch your records and all other things. So basically PHP is for the server side rendering, and that's it. We also have some branches in web development. At least most of us are beginners, so it makes sense for us to talk about this. There are three main branches of website development, and they are front end, back end, and full stack. So with the front end, just as the name implies, so I think I made a mistake. It's supposed to be front end, not front. Front end. All right. So front end deals basically, if you visit any website, what you can see, anything you can see on the website is what we call the front end section, or the front end branch of the website web development. Front end is what we see, anything, the text, the nav bar, the colors, everything. And we have back end. So that was what we use PHP for. The PHP, for instance, is a backend language, and the explanation we made there implies here. Backend is about the services that run at the backside of the website that we don't see. All right, we'll cover this in the next lecture. We'll cover it for. Then we have full stack. Full stack is all those who combine the two, those who know the front end and then the back end. If you know the two, you are known as a full stack web developer. All right. With this, let's move on to the next one. So diving deeper with the front end, he said that it deals with the development of interactive web pages. Yes, basically it has to do with anything on the website that can be seen. At least for you to know front end, you need HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So for beginners in the web development industry, this is what we need to know. That for you to at least become a front-end developer, there are three sets of languages that you must know. It's a must for you to know these three. If you don't know these three, you don't fall in the category. So you need to, number one on the list, know HTML and CSS. That is for styling the website, making it look good. And then we have JavaScript. JavaScript is also, just as I explained earlier on, for the programming of behaviors of the website. That's it. And then from there we move on to the backend. If we say backend, just as the definition says, deals with services that are running behind the scenes. These services cannot be seen. Example will be database manipulation. At least you know, yes, database manipulation. With the backend, you don't know what is happening. You don't see them. You cannot, there's nothing you can trace from the backside. Everything is working underground. And that's what the backend is all about. For you to be able to know for you to be able to become a backend developer as a beginner, you need to know PHP and also MySQL. You need PHP and MySQL. And then we have the full stack, just as it knows. It's the combination of both. So if you know the front end, you know the back end, you become both. Well, one of the goal of this course, one of these goals is to make sure that I'm talking to you here, you become a very full stack developer. You know all the aforementioned languages for the back end and then the front end. I'm teaching this. And after this, we will dive deeper to the advanced courses and we will know everything. One of the advantage of joining this class is that you are sure and you have of the confidence that you will become a full stack web developer, because the one teaching you is and I'm glad to see that as well. Okay, so let's begin our class. All right, I once again welcome you again onto this very powerful class as well. We have HTML and CSS. HTML and CSS, they move together. So this is something something powerful that you cannot miss. HTML and CSS move together everywhere, but for now we will be focusing on the HTML. Very soon then we will add the CSS to it. You see that for HTML, it's a very simple yet powerful language for creating web pages. So HTML is for creating web pages. That one is not for programming anything, just for creating web pages. All right, so this is what you will learn in the coming videos. This is what you are going to learn. All what happened was an introduction. So you are going to learn the basics of HTML, and 2, you are going to know some of the best practices. Number 3, you are going to know HTML validations. This is something that is very new to most people. HTML validations is there. We are going to cover it in details. Okay. All right. So what is HTML? Let us start. You see, HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. It's a language for structuring the web. So just as we explained, it's just for structuring the website. And then there's one thing to attach to it. You say HTML is not a programming language. So for HTML, we don't use it for programming. It's just for structuring, for laying out the content, the site, or the building blocks. Contains the building blocks for building a website. HTML is not a programming language, just as you know. So why should I learn HTML? This is very simple. You need to learn HTML so that you can be able to develop websites, because HTML is the building block for web pages. Hello and welcome to this section of the lectures. We are going to look at tags and attributes. If we say tags and elements are often used interchangeably, and they are the building blocks of the HTML language. For tags, this is how they look like. They are contained in a opening and closing curly braces consisting of the opening and then the closing. This is what we mean. Every tag in HTML, this is the format. This is how it is going to look like. Right? We have the open curly braces. Sorry, this one is angle bracket rather. So open and closing angle brackets, and then the name of the tag will come inside. And then with the closing, this is how it looks like. It's just like the opening, but that one, before the name of the tag will come, you will add a backslash, right? So if you can examine carefully, then angle bracket will open, the name of the tag will come, and then from there to you have to add the backslash and then the name of the tag, so that you close it. And not all the elements in HTML are closed in this way, right? There are some that are closed, that are we call them self-closing tags, and with those ones, they don't need the opening and then the closing. It's just the opening. You just have to declare the opening. The closing will not have to come. And such is the image tag. You see, we have the image, the source of the image, where the image is coming from, another the name or the name of the image, and then the closing. Simple. So with this one, you don't need any opening and closing. Such is the image tag. So the question is, why is it that some of them consist of some of them have opening and closing and others do not have opening and closing? It's very simple. Tags that have opening and closing, that one, they are parent tags. They can have children within them, but single tags such like the image, they cannot have children within them. So that's it. Let's move on to the next one. The next on the list is attributes. Now if you say attributes provide information about an element or a tag. Let's say an element. Okay, so if we look at this img tag, it has a source, a class, and then what? An id, which is equal to unique. Okay, so why this is very important is, you see, in our code we can have so many img, which is short form of image. We can have so many image tags, like 20 of them, and if we are styling them, because all of them are image tags, it will be very difficult. Sometimes you want to style the first image and you see all of them have adapted to the style you've given, like the style you intend to give to the first one will be applied to all the 20 images in the document, which is very bad. And so attributes like class and id plays a very important role here. What it does is you can have 20 images, but all of them have different class names. For instance, the first one is called my image, then the second one is called your image. You see, all of them have the same tag. They are image tags, but the first one is my image and then the second one is your image. So if I want to style them, I simply take instead of referring to the image, I will not refer to the image tag. I'll go and then I'll select or I will choose the specific name for the class, which is my image. So if I style my image will be styled and your image will not be styled. Hello, are we clear here? So this is what happens whilst or when coding HTML. Classes help us to uniquely, classes, they don't uniquely. Classes help us to, handpick a particular element or group of elements. And we have another one called ID. The ID also help us to uniquely identify an element. It's like an ID card. Everybody have an ID card, but you see, IDs are not the same. It uniquely identify a person. So we can give the ID attribute to an element so that it can be uniquely identified. Are we okay? All right. So with attribute, there's a format that you need to follow. If we can look at it carefully, you will see that the name of the attribute is called what? Is class. It is followed by equal to, right? And thereafter the equal to, we see what? How do you call this one? We put it in double quotes. Yeah, we put it in a double quotes. And then the double quote is also opening and closing. So, this is it. Opening of the double quotes and then the closing of the double quotes, and then the name of the class will come here. Hello, the name of the class will come here. And with the ID, so ID2, that's the same. Basically, all attributes in HTML follow the same pattern. The name of the attribute will come, followed by open and then closing double quotes, and then the name or whatever attribute you want to give it to it, it comes inside the open and close, comes inside the double quotes. All right. So basically, that's how attributes and elements or tags are in HTML. One other thing that I would like to also cover is IDE. I would like you to understand what IDE is. If we say IDE, that's the abbreviation for Integrated Development Environment. So what this means, or what this does, is every programming language that you want to learn or you will be learning, there's a special software that helps you in developing that particular language or learning that particular language you want to learn. So IDE, what it does is they provide us with the efficiency. They gives us the flexibility and the ability to be able to code or learn a particular language that we are building, or like any language that specifically we are working on. IDE makes it possible for us to write our code. It is not everywhere that we can write our code. You cannot use Microsoft Word for writing codes. Why? Because Microsoft Word is not an IDE. So for IDE, they just provide us they give us the environment. They gives us the flexibility of writing our code. And we have so many IDEs that are around, but these are some of the examples. We have Visual Studio, we have Eclipse, we have IntelliJ IDEA, and others. But it seems that for now the most popular everywhere is Visual Studio. So in this our lesson, this is what we are going to use to learn HTML. We are going to use Visual Studio. All right, so thank you, and in the next lecture we are going to start with practical. So hello and welcome once again. In this lecture we are going to install the code editor for the HTML coding. So open your browser and input Visual Studio Code. When the page opens, I want you to select the first page, this one. So you wait for the page to load, and then you click on the download. When the download page appears, you select your platform. If you are using Windows computer, you go by this one. If you are using other systems, you choose your respective OS. Okay, mine is Windows, so I click on Windows. Okay, after some time the download will start, so we need to take some time. Okay, all right. So I'm using download manager and it has prompted me for the download, but I'll cancel it because I have already installed it. But in your case, you have to install it. So install it and let's continue from the next video. Okay, so welcome to this session of the course. We are going to dive into the practical aspects. We just finished installing Visual Studio, so I will want you to open Visual Studio. So now Visual Studio is open and we have the welcome screen. Some too will have the startup. Whatever it is, I want you to close it. The first tab you see here is called Explorer. Now what this Explorer does is it contains a list of files and folders of the project we are working on. You can also see extensions. This is the part for installing plugins. Now we will come back to plugins later, and you will see other things here that you will not be on your machine. These are because I have already installed some plugins, so you have not installed them, so you will not see them, but everything is going to work the same. Let it not bother you much. All right, okay, let us all head back to our desktop and create a folder and call it website. Okay, so inside this website folder is where we are going to do all our codings, where we are going to do all our writing of code. So now you come back to the extension, you come back to the code editor, and then you head to the Explorer tab. Go to open folder. Now when you come to open folder, navigate to the place, let's navigate to where we created a new folder called website. I created it on the desktop, so I go to desktop and then I select that particular folder. I click select folder. When I select the folder, it will be just click on trust the author, because you are the one. It's not any harmful file or folder. So once again, let's close the startup. That's not what we are looking for. And then inside our website folder, this one is when we want to create a new file, we click on this one. When we want to create a folder, you see the name has been populated, new folder, in that order. So we want to create a new file, so we click on new, and then let's call it index.html. In the HTML web development terms, index always refers to the home page. If we say index, we are referring to the home page. You can call it home.html or index.html. They all refer to the home page of the website. So this is home page. Now let's get to actual coding in HTML. There's this thing that I want to highlight. If you want to start coding in HTML, let me make it big and bold so that my lovely viewers can see them clearly. Okay, so when you want to start, we first have to do this doc type. And one thing about Visual Studio Code is it gives you the flexibility, the auto completion, so that you don't need to worry yourself with so much code. There are so many things you get to learn. So if you get a text editor that will help you complete things in much faster way, is best. You have to always learn to program and in much faster and smart way, other than wasting much time. Okay, so that's what I would say for this one. When you see this one, you click enter or tab. Inserted it for us. Now what this means is this should always be the starting point, or it should always be the starting code. You need to always write this even before you begin with the other code that you will write. Okay, very good. What this means is it is telling the browser that the code that we are writing here is HTML version 5. Previously we have so many versions that are passed. You don't need those versions because they are passed and you will not see them anywhere. The latest one that is on is HTML5. So you have to declare this to tell the browser that what we are coming to do here is not any version of the HTML, but the version 5. That's what this means. So you have to try as much as possible to always write this at the beginning of your code. And let me tell you this, HTML is a flexible language. It's not case sensitive. So this is a capital doc, and then you see HTML is small. We can change things around, and instead of capital, you can say doc type HTML, and it will work. Okay, it will work. You can also change this one to HTML. It will still work. But the convention for writing this, it should be the doc type should be capital, and then the HTML should be smaller. But it does not mean that when you change it, it will not work. When you change it to small or capital, it will still work. But the convention for writing this is the doc type is capital, and then the HTML is smaller. So keep that in mind. All right. So when we write, when we declare that we are working in the version 5 of the HTML, the next thing is we need to declare the HTML tab. This is HTML. Oh, sorry. Everything should be small. HTML. All right. HTML. So let us hit enter to open it. So this HTML opening and closing tags, in case you don't know what a tag is, don't worry, we will dive deeper. You'll get to understand everything. But for now, take it as it is, because we are coming to explain it for you to know it better. So HTML, this is to tell the browser, or let me say, this is where all our code will come. Every code that we are coming to write will be inside the HTML blocks. This is the starting tag, and this is the ending tag, the opening, and then what, the closing. So whatever we are coming to do will be inside here. And for a quick illustration, let me do this. Let me open. Okay, all right, it's not there, so let us move on. You see, when we are writing letter way back in school, we have a format for writing letters, right? So that's the same way that HTML is also like. We have formats for writing anything. So the format for writing HTML is, once you've declared the HTML tags, the next thing that you need to do is to declare a head. Very good. So we have the head here. What this head section contains is, now one thing I want you to understand, that the head is a parent tag, right? Parent element. When it's a parent element, it means it can contain children in between the opening and the closing. So this one is the opening, this one is the closing. Children will come here, right? That's what I mean. And you see that the root element, another the main HTML tag, or the main HTML element, is also a parent element, which will contain so many things. For now, it's containing only the head, but other things will also come into it. Okay, very good. So what this head section means is, the head section contains information about the website. This head section is used to give information about the website. It is at this point that we get to explain to the browser what our website is all about. This is very important for SEO, what I made mention in the lectures. There are some configuration that must come here so that your website will be shown in the search engine optimization. Like, it will help the browsers to locate your website early. Okay. So yeah, and one other thing too is, this is where we do linkings of CSS, JavaScript, any external other libraries. But for now, just as I said it, we are not going to go to that section. We are purely on HTML. We will get there, so you will get to know everything. And there's one particular thing that I want to show here. In this section, let us call the title tag. Now, if we say title, what does it mean? Just as you know, title will just give information about the website. It will let the website know that, oh, okay, I'm at the login page. Oh no, I'm at the sign up page. Yes. So title, we will call it my first website. Okay. So with this, let us save it. You come to file, and then you go to save. One thing, look at it. You see the icon? It's like a dot, right? This is telling you that the whole process have not been saved. So come to file and then save. You can hit Ctrl+S shortcut and it will be saved. Okay, so there's it. Let us minimize it, open our folder, and then go to the index file that we've just created. When you go, if you can check here, you see that I don't think mine is readable though, but you can see my first website, right? That is the title. So the head section of the HTML provide information about the website, and in this case, what we are showing the title to be my first website. Aside that, let me head to the body. We will come back. We are not done. We will come back, but this is a very small introduction to how HTML look like. So I will ask you to take time and understand everything, so that when we move on, nothing becomes confused for you. And then we have the body aspect. The body aspect contains everything that you see on the website. When you visit any website, the image you see, the buttons you see, the colors you see, everything occurs inside the body element. Okay, so the body element, that's where, let me say, the working space. It contains everything that we work on. Hello, this is Code with Ibra once again, and in this section of the lecture, we are going to talk about text, the various type of text that we have in HTML. So to begin with, we will start with heading. We also have heading in HTML. just as the way we have headings when we are writing letters and other things. So with the heading, it is in hierarchy. We have the biggest of the heading, and then we have the least of them. It starts from 1 to 6. So let's see this in action. H1 is heading 1. If you want to go to the heading 2, what will it be? Yes, H2. Very good. Oh, this is not how to spell 2. And then the H3, which is heading 3. Alright. H4 is heading 4. Alright. One thing I will tell you guys is, when you are writing code in HTML, make sure that all your codes will be in small letters. Let it be in lower cases. Avoid upper cases. When you write it in uppercase, it will work, but that is not the convention. The convention for writing HTML codes is small letters. You try to follow the industry standard. Okay, all right. So let's hit Ctrl+S, save. We minimize it, go to our folder, and then let's launch what we have. Okay, so we can all see from my screen and from yours too, I'm sure this is the same thing that has happened there. We have the heading, the H1 is the biggest, and then the H6 is what? The smallest. So one of the quick and an advice is, when programming, or like when you're writing HTML code, at least you have to try as much as possible to include either H1, H2, or let your page contain one particular title that the page is about, and you have to make that either H1 or H2. Like let it become, or let it be the biggest. This is a way to help search engines to recognize your page, to recognize your site. So this is my take for you. Every site, every page that you are developing, try as much as possible that on each page there will be one big heading. That's the information that the page is all about. Okay, so now we have seen the heading in action. So when we're designing of website, you are free to use whatever you want. No one is forcing you to use the 3, the 1, the 5, the 6. Whatever you feel like doing, that is what you do. Okay, all right, let's come back to code. And then, having done this, we also have another one. We have another tag called a P for paragraph. See, whilst typing, whilst coding or writing our letters, we have paragraphs. So see HTML as a document, that Word document that we use in our everyday life. We have paragraph also, and what paragraph does is the normal that we all know. It just gives paragraphs. So I am the first paragraph of the page. Okay, we have completed one paragraph. We have another one too. I am the second paragraph. Okay, I am the first paragraph. I am the second paragraph. Okay, let us see this in action. Hit Ctrl+X, and then let's minimize. Open our folder, then let's launch our file. So as you can see on the screen, we have the first paragraph, and then some space, and then the second paragraph. So in your site, if you want to write paragraph, you use the paragraph tag to separate your content. Maybe the first one, you have a content different from the other one. This is what you do. You put them in the paragraph tag. Okay, all right. There are so many of them, and the other one that I will introduce to you is what we call the span tag. The span. span, the span tag. The span tag is also for writing text. I am the span tag. But there's one thing you have to know here. For the span tag, span and then the p tag, they are not the same. Why are they not the same? They are not the same because the span tag is not a block level element, and this one is a block level element. I know you are confused for me saying block level element, but that is what we will be covering in the next lecture. Hello and welcome to this section. This section we will be diving into the display element, what we made mention of in the previous lecture. So if we say display elements, have a very simple and short note. The display element simply describes the behavior of the tags, the elements in HTML in their relation to weight, taking. Okay, so talking about the display element, we have types, and the types are two. We have the block level elements, and then we have the inline level elements. So let's see this in action. If we say block level element, they are elements that do not allow any other element to come in front of them. If I say in front of them, some people will be confused, but let me say it does not allow any other element to come next to them. All right, no other element can come next to them. When they are sitting there, they are very greedy. They take the whole weight. And then we have inline element. Inline element, they are also elements that allows any other element to also come in front of them. So as for them, they are not greedy, they are very cool. For them, they sit quietly. If you come next to them, why not? You get a chance. But then with the block level element, they block completely. They allows nothing to come in front of them. And some of the examples of the block level elements are the p and then what, the div. They are many, but for this example, this is what I'm just using. And with the inline also, these are what we have. We have the span element, and also we have the small elements. There are many. We have the image as well, but as we dive deeper, we are going to know how we are going to go about it. And one beautiful thing about learning CSS is with CSS we can change an object from block to inline and from inline to block. So that's a quick notice I want you to know. So this something small I will want you to know. Let us continue from the next video. All right, welcome back. We are still on text and we are looking at the various type of text. So we've now we saw in the previous lecture the display element of HTML. We have the block and then we have the inline. And in our lecture, we got to know that span is an inline level element, and also small is also an inline element. But there's one thing that we studied. We said that with a block level element like this one, they do not allow any other element to come in front of them or next to them. So that is that is trying to say that with this one, my first paragraph, blah 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 blah, will never allow the second one to be placed in front of them. And I think we saw that in our preview. Yes, the first paragraph is not allowing my second paragraph to also come in front of it. Let's take a look at something also. You see the span. I am the span tag. Very good. The span tag is an inline element, but we see it sitting separately here. Do you know why it's sitting separately here? It's sitting separately. It's simply because this one is a P and it's a paragraph. It's not allowing this man. It's not allowing this man to come here. That's why it's here. So okay, let's introduce another span tag too, so that we see things in action. Span say I am the second span tag. Let's hit Ctrl+S and save it. Go back to the browser. Go back to the browser and refresh. Very good. You see, I am the span tag is the first one, and then I am the second tag is the second one. So these two, they are inline level elements. So with inline level element, they allow any other kind of element to be placed in front of them or next to them. But for these greedy ones, the block level elements, they will never allow anyone to come in front of them or come next to them. So these ones, when they are sitting there, they are sitting there. They are the man of the house. No one comes in front of them. You come in front of them, they push you to the down there, and then they take their whole weight. All right. So that's all about inline level element. And we cannot talk about all the inline and then the block level element. You don't need to memorize this. You don't need to even worry yourself to be remembering all of them. As you code along, or as you continue writing code, each time an element does not allow the other element to come in front of it or to sit next to it, then that should give you the clue that that element is a block level element. And this one to the same, when it allows the other element to come in front or the other element to be placed in front of it, that one should also tell you that what you are dealing with is what is an inline. And in addition, we have also something called small. This small is for text. Oh, small, my bad. Small, okay. Let's call it I am the small tag. This one is an inline, right? This one too is also an inline. What do you think? Do you think this one will come in front of this one or will come under it? All right, let's see this in action. Let's see who gets it correctly. Okay. Oh, why do I keep on closing this thing? Okay, very good. I am the small tag. You see, so the small tag is also an inline level element. So it has allowed the span has allowed this man to also come in front of it. So basically, that's all about it. And one thing about this small tag that I want you to take notice of is, you see, if you look closely to the font size and then this one, you see that this one is a bit small as compared to these ones. Okay, so with the small tag or the small element, as the name implies, it makes the text small. It makes the text small. That's what it does. Alright, welcome back. I'm very glad, I'm excited to be seeing you again. In this section, we are going to talk about the link tag. We are going to learn about how to navigate from a page to another page. Maybe you go to website, you see that there is the contact page, and then there is the about page. Also, you see that there's the home page. So we are going to do something similar like that. We're going to have multiple pages. That's what we are going to do in this lecture. Alright, so let's create a new file, a new HTML file, and call it about.html. About.html. When we go to the about, then you know the structure for the HTML. Let's do the HTML followed by the head. I always say the head provide information about the site, then the title, which shows the what the website is all about. So it's the about page, and then let's come to the body, one that all information is contained. The body contain all the informations. That's very good. So this is a very simple one. Let's use an h3 tag and write something small about the page, saying about page. Sorry, excuse me. About page. This is the about page. So if you have this, you will save it. You save it, and then in the index page I want you to also have the same h3 and then call it home page. All right, save that one too as well, and let's take a look at it in our browser. Okay, my own is not here. Let me just minimize and go back. I don't know why I just keep closing the site. Okay, let me make it big so that we can all see. This is the home page. This is the home page. All right, and then this one too is the about page. Okay, so what we are going to do now is we are going to make it in such a way that if you are at the home page, you can click a button, or you can click a link, and the link will send you to the about page. If you are at the about page also, you can click on a link and the link will take you back to the index page. Are we clear here? So at the beginning of the body, below the body, let's start. Let's include an a tag. This is an a tag. The main purpose of an a tag is for taking users, or it's for jumping from one page of the site to the another, and it's not restricted to the current page only. It's not restricted to the website only. You can also take a user to a different website. You can take a user anywhere. Look at the a tag as a navigation, as a car that can take some people from one place to another in a website, within the site and outside the site too as well. So we can go to google.com for now, but I'm having some issue with my internet, so I'm fixing. Very soon it will be live, and then we will get to test things out. Okay, so this is how the a tag works, and then the starting and the closing, we've covered this already, so I don't need to talk much about it. And then the name of the page we want to visit, in this case about page. Let us save and look at what is happening in the browser, the index. Okay, look at what we have now. When we click on it, it's not taking us to about page, and what is happening here is very simple. We've not completed the a tag. That is why we are seeing what we are seeing there. So in order for everything to work out, we need to provide some attributes. All right, this a tag, it takes a specific attribute so that it can perform the function that it must perform. So one of the attributes that is needed and required for every a tag is the href, hyperreference. So hyperlink, this is where your link will come to. Okay, this is where our link will come to. So which page do we want to go to? If you want to go to google.com, you put www.google.com here, and when you click on the about page, it will take you to Google. But for now, just as I said, my internet connection is down, so for now we will not be navigating to any other websites than the one that we are working on locally. So that is something small that I will want to send across. Okay, the page we want to go to is the about page, right? About.html. You see, we are in the same directory, so when we type about.html, we are referring to this particular HTML file. The name should be correct. If you change it to about.3, you are going to get an error. You need to make sure that the name of the reference you are making matches the specific file. If the name is not specific, you will get it wrong. The page, it will not work the way you are expecting. All right, let's save it and look at what is happening also again in the browser. Okay, that is all right. Okay. Refresh. Very good. Now that we've added the href attribute, you can clearly see that Now when we hover the mouse pointer to you see it has changed to like a hand, a pointing hand, pointing to you that this one is a link. Okay, and you can also see clearly that the color has changed, indicating that this is a working link. Let's click on it and see something. Very good. You see, as we click on it, we've gotten to a different page. At first we were at the home page, but when we click on the about page, we are now at the about page. Okay, so this is a very quick exercise. I want you to go to the about page yourself, pause the video and go to the about page, and then add a link on top of the about page the same way we did here, and make it in such a way that when we click on that link, it will take us back to the index page. So pause the video and do it. When you are done, then you click continue. I'm going to also do it. Okay, so all right, let me minimize it. So in doing that, what we have to do is we come to the about page. I hope you were able to solve the question. If you were not able to solve it, don't worry, we will solve it together. So let's come, and then the a tag, and then the reference. The reference is what? Index. Okay, it has shown here. You click tab or enter to insert. Oh, it's not working the way I should. Okay, index.html. Let me click on it. All right, it's working now. And just as I told you the earlier one, because we've not completed it, this tag, there's an error here. This one is red. When we close it, it will go. Very good. And then say index page. Very good. Let's save it and see things in action. All right, Control S. Go back to the browser. Refresh. Very good. Okay, so at the about page, we can see index page, and this is a link with a pointing hand. So if you click on it, that means it will take us to the about page. Okay, the reason why things are big on my screen is if I don't do it that way, it will be very difficult for you to see it clearly. I know that on your side this is not how things are going to look like, but at my side I am making it look like this so that you can have the comfortability, you can see things clearly. Okay, all right, so let's click on the index page and see things in action. Index. Very good. So when we click on the index, if you can watch carefully from the browser, you see that the name of the file is index.html, indicating that we are what? We are at the home page. We are the home page with the title my website. So that's what we are seeing here. We click on the about, it takes you there. All right, so that's it about the link attribute, the link element. And the link element has href attribute, showing or telling us the particular place that the website will be navigating to. But one thing that I want to tell you is it's not only the href that you can have in the link tag. You can have many other things as well. What are some of those things that you can have as well? There's another attribute that is specific to only the a tag, and that attribute is target. Okay, target. So let's say target, okay, and underscore blank. When we say underscore blank, oh, blank, not black for this one. Okay, so underscore blank. This underscore blank, what it does is when we click on the okay, I've not saved it. Let me minimize. Let's see things in action so that the understanding will be deeper. Click on the index, right? Click on the about. Okay, the navigation is working, but you can see that everything is happening from that same window, from that same tab. Let me say that way, from that same tab and from that same window. Okay, that's where everything is taking place. But there can be in a situation whereby in a site you will want to redirect your user to a particular site, but you don't want it to happen on the current in the current tab that your users are working on, or where your users are viewing your website content. You want it that when they click on the link, a different tab will be opened. Hello. If you want a different tab to be opened on their site, so that they will not lose whatever thing they are doing, or they will not lose reading the content, they will not lose the current tab. This is where the target attribute comes in. So with the target attribute, this is set to blank, and blank will do something powerful. Let's see it in action. Control S. Let's save it. Save, minimize. Okay, refresh. Now, yeah, so you see the changes were made. We add the target blank to the index page, telling the page that, okay, when we are at the index and we click on the about page, we don't want to lose the current tab. What we want to happen is we want the link to be opened from a different tab, a new tab. Okay, click about and see. You see, click on it again. So we've not lost our current working tab. It's still there, and when you click on it, very good, it takes you to the different distance. So this is a very quick exercise. I want you to go to the about page and add a target attribute and make it in such a way that when we click also on the index page, instead of it being opened from the current tab, it will be open also from a different tab. So you can pause the video now and then do it. When you are finished, you resume to look at how we do our own. All right, thank you. And I know you were able to do it, but if you couldn't do it, that's totally fine. Let's do it together. Okay, let's do it together. So you come here, target is equals to blank. Control S, save it. Okay, now when we are at the about page, we want to go to the index page. We click on it, a new tab will have to open, right? So we don't lose our current tab. About page, we are now at the about page, index page. Okay, so that's it. The other attributes like the parent and then other things, you can work around it and test to see how it is, but basically it's the blank makes a difference. Parent will open from the parent and other things. So you can in your own time try and then manipulate, go about it, and then see it for yourself, some of the changes and some of the new things that will come out from it. All right, so that's it. Let's continue from the next video. All right, and welcome back. We are going to talk about image. We are coming to talk about image. So I will want us to clear all this. Let's clear them, and let's go to where our projects files are. I want you to create a new folder and call it image, and inside this folder we are going to put this is where our image will come. So let me see. Okay, let's minimize. I have one image on my desktop. You can also get any image that you want. The name of my image is called avatar. Or better, let me just do things simple. I cut the image, I go to desktop and then image. Let me put it here. Okay. Now excuse me. I go back to the code editor, and then in my image I expand. I see the image that I pasted as, you know, it's now active here. It's shown here, avatar.png. This is what we have here now. So first thing first, let's do not here. Let's do it from the index, right? At the index side, let's clear everything. If you have saved it, it's very good. Save it. Save all those codes that we've written. You will need it for your future references, so it's better to save it. So let's do this as well. The image tag, imgen for short, and then the closing. We give it some attributes. Okay, we give it some attributes. Give some attributes to the image, and one of the attributes of the image tag is source. Source is where your image will come. The name of your image will be inside this particular place. So let's expand. Now look at this very carefully. You see our image is in the image folder. When we were referencing the about page from the index, when we are connecting them together, we just type the name like about and everything was working. Okay, but this time around we cannot just type the name of the image like avatar.png. When we do it this way, it's not going to work. Okay, let's try it and see. Let's try it and see. Once again, I'll close it. Index. I hope you are seeing the icon symbol there. This icon symbol meaning we have an image tag in the web document, but the reference to the image is not seen, it's not found, like the image is not located properly. This can happen when the image failed to load, or two, the reference to the image is incorrect. So in our case, the reference was not correct. That is why we are having this kind of image symbol here. Okay, so you cannot reference something inside the folder this way. What we have to do is we need to tell the code editor that we want to come to the main root. So /. See, the // is telling the code the browser is telling the browser that come to the main side. If you open the website folder, this is the website folder, so // means you are here. Here's where we are. Each time you put // that means we are here in the current working folder. Okay, we are now in the current working folder. So in the current working folder, there is a folder called image. So /image, you see, the autocomplete is there for us. Just click enter, press enter. Wow, it has already selected the image for us. So if we go to the image, we can locate the avatar.png. Click on it. Very good, you are done. Now let's refresh. Wow, the image has come, but very too big. Let me make things small, precise things, so that you can see it. So this is the image. The image tag is for selecting image. Okay, that's what the image tag is for. And there's one thing that I would like to show here. We have the avatar.png, but there's no file like avatar22. Okay, there's no file like avatar22. So if I refresh, you will be sure that we are getting error, or the HTML will tell us that the image file that we linked does not exist. Okay, the image file that we linked does not exist. So in that case, you will give us this thing. But this way of showing error or showing the failure of the image to load is not, it's not cool. Sometimes there will be people reading your web page, and other times too, it can happen that maybe the image failed to load. But if this is all that they will be seeing in your website, then your website is not friendly. So there's another thing that HTML introduced. It is called ALT tag. The ALT is the short form of alternative. So if in case the image fails to load, then the alternative here will be shown. And one thing about the alternative is you need to make sure that what is here describe the website, the image. So the avatar.png is my profile picture. So let's say profile picture and save it. We go back to the browser to refresh, and now we have profile picture. Okay, so if the file fails to load, we will see profile picture, so that whilst reading or when we are around, you see that okay, there was a profile picture that was to come here, but something happened, so we are not seeing that picture. Okay, this is more friendly, and also it helps in SEO optimization. Try as much as possible to describe all your images with the alternative tag, and you have to make sure that you provide descriptive names. You don't just put any name, any image like image 1, image 3. No, it's not cool. You need to write a descriptive name, a name that describes the photo, so that when people are searching online, your photo can also show up. So that's one tip I want to give you. All right, let's move on. So this thing happened because there's nothing like image avatar 22. So let's revert everything back to our correct image and save it. Okay, and refresh. Now when we refresh, our image has shown up. Okay, and when the image gets shown, where is the profile picture? It is the text profile picture. The text profile picture is nowhere to be found. Why is it nowhere to be found? Because now the actual image is around. When the actual image is around, this ALT attribute will not be active. It will not show. It will not be shown. But when this one is off, when we are not seeing this one, that is when this one will come. The alternative. Oh, what is happening? That is where the alt attribute will come into play. Okay, so there's something I want you to take notice of. What you have to take note of with the IMG tag is you provide the correct source, and at the same time you provide a descriptive name to the picture, not just IMG1, but something that can be understandable, something that describes what the image is really about. That is all for this section, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you for watching. Hello and welcome back to this section of the course. Okay, so I'm going to introduce you to commenting in HTML. One of the powerful or one of the advisable thing to do is, as a programmer, you need to always document your code. And aside that, you also, as you are writing, you need to make sure that you provide commenting for your code. When you are working, or when you get a chance to work in industries, in software development firms, tech firms, you are not the only one that is going to write the code. There are so many people, like 5, 10, sometimes 20 people working on a project. So part of the project will be given to you, and when they give you a part of the project to develop, your project must be easy to understand, because other developers will also read your code. Okay, so when you are developing the site, this one for instance, it makes sense to bring a comment here, right? To introduce a comment here that maybe image, my image, or profile image. Okay, but the way of declaring a comment in HTML goes like this: angle bracket, exclamation mark, then you introduce dash. Whatever you put here will not be read by the browser. Hello, whatever that comes in between the dashes will not be read. The browser will not see it. Okay, it will be unreadable. The browser cannot even see it. That's all about comments. So maybe let's say this is profile picture. Let's save it and let's go back to the browser and refresh. We are not seeing any profile picture around. Okay, now let's see more examples. Let me come back, let me come to the bottom here with a P tag and say, how are you doing today? Oh, my today. Okay, today, how are you doing today? Let's go back to the browser to refresh. Now, as we can all see, the how are you doing today is here, right? We can all see how are you doing today. Now, if we comment the how are you doing today in the code editor, it is not going to be read by the browser. The browser will not see it. So angle brackets, exclamation mark, dash dash. Okay, and then at the end, at the far side, at the end of the P tag, we introduce the dash dash and then the closing angle brackets. Okay, let us save it and look at the result in action. Very good. Now where is the P? It is not there. Where is the how are you today? It's gone. Okay, so these are how you have to use comments. The best practices for using comment is each time you are working on a section of projects. As for this one is very small, just an image, but you can have so many lines of code, like 10,000 lines of code. You can also have 500 lines of code. Sometimes with all these lines of code, it becomes very difficult to read. Okay, so when you have commenting, like comments in your code, it makes it very easy for you and also for others to read your code, for them to navigate to some particular portion to know that, okay, this is the profile aspect, this is the part that displays product in that order. And also, if you have an element that you don't want it to be shown in the browser, or you don't want that element let me say you don't want it to be shown, or you just want to place a comment, you use the comment tag, and whatever that comes in between these two dashes will not be read by the browser. All right, so that's all about commenting. I hope you enjoyed this lecture. Hello and welcome back to this section of the video. And in this video, we are going to explore the aspect of listing. You see, there's a time you will want to list things in your website, like maybe schools in Ghana. Then number one is maybe any school that you know. Then number two follows, number three follows, and in that order. So we have HTML provide or gives us the flexibility, in working with listings. And with list, we have two types of list. We have ordered list and non-ordered list. Just as the name implies, when we say ordered list, it's a kind of list that is ordered. Okay, that is ordered, like 1. From 1 you move to 2, 3, 4. So 1, then the name of the item, number 2, the name of the item, 3, behind that order. But with unordered list, that one is just some bulletin there, just some bulletin. That will be there. But then let's see things in action. So when you want to start with the listing, you need to first declare the container for holding the items, right? Take a look at this. Just follow me. After that, I will explain it to your understanding. Okay, so let me say HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Okay, let's save it and look at something in the browser. All right. Okay, so if you can watch carefully, we see HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and there's a bulletin. Okay, there's a bulletin. So this is how it goes. The listing has to come inside a parent container, a parent element. And in our case, the parent element is the UF. Who understands the full meaning of the UF? The UL means unordered list. That means the type of list that will come within this element, this UL tag, or this UL element is not ordered. So unordered list. And we can all verify that these ones, they are not ordered. You see, when we say ordered, that means they need to follow order. Like this one is I, or maybe 1, 2, 3, or A, B, C. Okay, but you see this one, there's nothing like I, or A, B, C. All what we see here is some bulletin, and then bulletin. That's what we are seeing here. Okay, so that's all about the unordered list. With the unordered list, it is used for listings that does not need order. Sometimes you will want to order your things, maybe list things in order. If you want that one, you go for the order list. If you just want some bulletin of any type, like bulletin, you just go with the unordered list. Okay, and there can be a situation where maybe you will not want to use this circle thing. There are some types that we can specify here. So if you want to change the type of bulletin that you will want to see, what you have to do is inside the UL like this, you come and then you specify type. So you specify the type, okay, and the type that you want. Let's say I want a square, so SQUARE. Then let's save it. When you save it, let me start everything over again. My machine was not behaving well for me. Okay, so we can all see from the screen that the type has changed to square. At first it was a circle, right? But now it has changed to a square. Okay. So we have so many other things. You can also say that the type you want it to be disk, ISC, disk, like this. And when we check it, oh, my bad, I think it's not part of it. All right, I quite forgot that, but there are numerous of them. You can search around to know the kind of type that you really want to use. But basically, for the listing, this is all that you will ever need of listing. And the truth of the matter is UL is mostly used everywhere as compared to the one that I'm coming to teach you. Okay, so I think it makes sense to do something small here, like unordered list. Let's change it to maybe H4. Not J4, serious, H4. Okay, all right. Okay, so let's come down here and then another H4, call it ordered list. Okay, and with the ordered list, if unordered list is UL for the parent element, then you and I will agree with me that the ordered list will also be OL. Okay, and then the list continues. HTML, not LE, HTML, CSS, and then the last one, which is what? JavaScript, my favorite language ever. Okay, all right, so this is it. Okay, this is it. Let us go to the browser to check. This is the unordered list. Look at what we have here. We have the bulletin of circle, and then the bulletin here, and then the ordered list. You see the ordered list have what? Have 1, 2, 3 in that order. Okay, and this one is also like the other one. It's like this one. You can give it a type also. So type is equal to, you can, if you want it to be I in that order, you simply place I here. Okay, then save it. Let us refresh it from the browser and see. Very good. You see we have I in that order. What if you want ABC? Well, with ABC too, that's the same thing. if you want a small a, just put a small a here. You put small a here, is going to follow in that order. That's the same thing that is going to happen if you put uppercase A. If you put uppercase A too, I bet you that's the same thing is going to be seen here. All right. Okay. Let's check something out. Okay. That because the disk it needs to work. I wonder why it's not working. Quite forgot about it, but all right, no problem. If you get a chance, you read about them. But it was working though. But I think I have forgotten that there was other one I acquired to use, but it's been a while. I visited the basic HTML, so I will have to go back and read on it again. But for you, you also have the chance to read over. But the most important aspect is it's not about the listing, but about the order. And I will admit it that with the type here, we normally don't do this with HTML, but we do everything with CSS. Okay, so you have better chances of changing this one. You can even remove the list necessary changes and all that. Okay, you can also as well do this one, capital I, uppercase IN. It will also reflect. Okay, so that's all about the ordered listing in HTML. All right, stay tuned and I will see you in the next video. Hello and welcome back to this video once again. In this my video, we are going to look at forms. When we say forms, what comes into your mind? Forms are is a way of collecting information from the users of our website. Okay, so if you go to Facebook to log in, where you input your data, your email, your password, that is a form. Okay, if you are signing up for anything online, what you input, your name, your data, your date of birth, your phone number, is a form. So basically, form is used for collecting information. That's one basic thing about forms. It's used for collecting information. And in this video, we are going to dive into forms. We are going to look at how forms, the types, input field, and other stuff. Okay, so let's get rolling. Before we start, I don't like the aspect of always saving, hitting Ctrl+S. So everybody head to File, scroll down, and then you see autosave. Yes, click on autosave. When you click on autosave, you don't really have to waste your time each time to save the code. It will be saved automatically for us. We don't need to be saving it manually. All right, so this is what we have to do now. Let's move on. To start a form, you need the form tag. The form tag. All right, and this form tag also accepts some attributes like the method. We have the get and we have the post. Okay, now for here, explaining this method will not really mean much because we are not going to use the post and then the get in the HTML here in this lesson. But when we get to advanced topics like JavaScript and PHP, that's where the post and then the get is going to be used mostly. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is what we are going to do is I will give you the explanation, but the real implementation of it will come later. Okay, now we have two forms of forms submission. We have the get method and also we have the post method. But with the get method, what it does is for get is used to submit data that are not sensitive. What do I mean by sensitive? It's used to transfer or submit data that are less data that are not that much valuable, data that are not something like getting the ID of something. Maybe you want to get a page number. Okay, Okay, you go to some site, you see that in the browser there's something like page, something look like this, something will be like page is equals to 3. Okay, each time you go to the browser and you see something like page is equals to 3, that means there's a form behind the scene, and the action of the form is action get. Okay, as for the get, it displays the information in the browser, it is visible. Okay, so if you are submitting data to the server side and the data include things like the user's information such as password, email, we don't use the get. Hello, we don't use the get. What we use is the post. Post is used to submit large amount of data to the server, and with post it is secure, because as for post, you don't see the values of the form in the address bar or as part of the address. You don't see that one. Okay, so let's get to code. We will explain everything in detail as we move on. So the form accepts two methods. We have the get and we have the post. For now, for an experimental sake, let me go with the get. And then there's another attribute also. There are many, but there's one thing to call action. This is the site, or this is the page that our form will be submitted to. Okay, for instance, you see, you go to facebook.com and you log in, and all of a sudden you are taken to the Facebook page. Okay, so what happened is, at the action side, there is a linking to the server or to the backend that will actually handle the form request or the form as a whole. Okay, this action side will take us to a particular part of the server that will handle, maybe if this one is login, that will handle the login, and thereafter the processing, the server will push it to any page that we have to go. Okay, but that is more let me say verbose for now, so let's drop that one aside and let us focus on the get. For the action, we are not going to use them now, but I just want you to be aware that they exist. Okay, let's put hash. If you put hash here, that means the form will not submit anywhere, it will not go anywhere. Okay, it will not go anywhere. Okay, so let us save. Okay, oh, sorry for saving. We've already enabled it, so we don't even have to waste our time saving. When we refresh, we are not going to see anything. Why are we not seeing anything? Because we've not done anything. Okay, and with forms, we have types of forms. We have types of form inputs. There are so many inputs of forms. It depends on what you want to collect from your users. Someone will want to collect username, and username is full of text, so you have the type that you have to use. Someone too will want to collect passwords, so we have a field dedicated specially for password. Someone too will want to collect emails. That's the same way we have a special input type for email. Okay, but enough of the talkings. Let me actually show you some things here. So let us say I want to take my name, so input type of text. Why input type of text? Because at the end of the day, name is all about text. Okay, name is all about text. Then you close it. If you analyze this thing again, you can see that the input is also what? Is also a single closing element. That means it cannot take any child. Okay, cannot take any child. It's not a parent, it's always meant to be a child. Let's refresh. Very good. This is the input form. Okay, mine is too big, that is why you see this is how it's going to appear, but for readability's sake and for you to see it clearly, I'm going to make it bold. Okay, so we have the form here, and I'll enter my name, code with Ibra as the channel name. Okay, code with Ibra. I've taken the name. I have input the name here. Let's come back to the browser. You see, most of the time when you go to websites, and if you go and there's something like this, you will not understand. Either you have to put your email or your phone number, you will not understand. So I think it will make sense for us to display something small here, like a text that will describe to the user what exactly we are doing. Okay, so let's see that in action as well. All right, I'm enjoying teaching you this course. In fact, I love coding too much, and I hope you are also enjoying. Okay, so what we do is we have an element. Okay, we have an element in HTML called label, and just as the name implies, label will label the input for you. Okay, the label will label the input. So label is for labeling. What is the specific purpose of this one? I said I want to take inputs of names from users. So name, let's save it. Oh, forget we have enabled auto save. Let's refresh. Very good. So now you see name and then you see the input form. What comes into your mind? Okay, they are expecting name here. Very good. That's it. So the label helps us or gives us the ability to be able to know what a particular form field is all about. Okay, it's all about. And let's take phone numbers too. I have a quick question for you before we move on. Okay, I have a quick question. You see, this one is the label element, and this one here too is an input element. They are not together. But what do you think that this one has allowed, the label has allowed the input element to be placed in front of it or the next to it? Put the answer in the description below. Or if you are on the channel, go to the channel and then go to the group forum and then type the answer this question there. I'll come and check. Okay, but if you also know, if you are not on the platform, you can join. If you are okay, if you don't want to join too, you can put it in the description below. Why do you think that the name and then the input, this one is not pushing this input to the next line, but it's allowing it to be in the same line? It's a very question for you. Try and solve it. Very good. If you get it wrong too, it's best. My best friend is mistakes, because it makes me to move to the right path. It shaped me to the correct path. Okay, all right, so let's move on. We have another label element, and this time around I want to take emails from users. So email, and then come here, label input, and then the type of the input is email. Oh, this is not how to spell email. Very good. Let's go and then refresh. When we refresh, we see that email is here. When we see the name here and then the email to here. Okay, that's right. Now it's not readable. What we are seeing here is not nice. So let me introduce you to another tag. There is a BR tag that is a short form of break, right? BR it means break. So it will sort of give some spacing between them, sort of break this one from this one. You can see that from in action. Okay, you see the break. It has, this one was overflowing here, but the break has caused it to come to the next line. All right, okay, that's how the break works. So, and then label, this time around we want to take password from the user. Okay, so input password, hit enter, input password, and let's refresh. Oh, my bad. And let's refresh. when we refresh to, we have our password here, but just as it happened the other time, it happened the same. So let's bring br here so that the password will move to the next line without conflicting as it's doing now. Very good. So we have the name, we have the email, and then we have the, actually, you know something, instead of the br, let's change things around. I like to play around with code so that it helps me to know the different things. All right, so let's use the div tag. And when you are coding, you try as much as possible to make your coding nice, make it readable. Okay, make it readable. Coding is something that is meant to be fun. So if your coding style, your style of writing is not nice, then it's very, very horrible. So you make it very good. All right, and then it's left with this one too. Let's actually put it in the div tag. So the div, and then this one comes here. All right, so this is the div. The div tag, if you have not come across this one, let me explain. Div is the short form of division. So it's a division tag. You are going to see this mostly in HTML codes. So it's for division, for dividing sections of the website, web pages. Okay, so this is trying to tell you that this is a division, and then a division. Okay, division is a block level element. It's not anything difficult. It's a block level element also. Okay, let us go to the browser. Wow, yes, and it's simply the same thing. Okay, it's the same. So why did I use br? The goal of using br is to expose you to the div tag. The div tag is very, very important, and then the div tag will also, you are going to see this one very most often. So it's very, I think it's very okay, it's very good if we talk about it now. So that's all about the div tag. It's just like the br tag, but with the div tag is used mostly because it's the short form of division. It's a division tag. That's what you will be seeing in most of the code that we'll be writing, either here or anywhere. Okay, so this is it about the forms. And then I think it's actually a wise decision to have sort of button that when we click on it, we see something, maybe like a register button. Okay, so let's go back to the code, and then let's introduce a division tag, div for short, and then a button, button, call it register. Very good, register. Let's come to the browser, refresh, register. Okay, this register. Now at the moment our form will not register, it will not go anywhere. Okay, it will not do anything because we've not made the necessary requirements. Okay, there are some things that I would do. We are coming to take notice, like we are coming to take a look at. Most of the time when you visit a website, you see that when you click on the name like this, automatically the input field that is connected to the name gets selected like this. So if I click here, then this one automatically becomes focused. We are coming to look at how we will do that. And also, I think it will make a lot of sense if we add number, so that we are taking the username, email, and then the phone number. Okay, so let's add that one. So the name, the email, I will want to bring the phone number here. So let's introduce our div tag, and then the label is, let's just call it phone. Okay, phone. The users will know that we are talking about phone number. So input of the type number. number. You know what, let's not make it phone, let's make it age. Okay, age. Why we are not making it phone? For so many reasons. I just want us to make it phone. Let's make it age. Okay, let's make it age. Let's make it age. And then we close it. Can close it like this. Close it like this. And then we come back to the browser. We refresh. Very good. We have the name, we have the email, we have the age, and we have the password. Once again, let me say this: if you are looking at this and you are not impressed, like it's not fine, it's not nice, no, don't discourage yourself, don't kill the morale. Okay, this is the initial, this is the beginning. We are getting to the point where things will change. So let us focus on the skeleton. We are building the skeleton. See, if you see a man and the man is in a wheel, it does not mean that the man cannot move. It means that there is something wrong with the skeleton. If your leg is broken, the bones is broken into pieces, you cannot walk. And basically that's the same thing that happens to your website if the skeleton is not well. So that's why we've taken the time to code the HTML to better ourselves with the skeleton of the site. Very good. Like I said it earlier on, I said I want it in such a way that when we click the name, automatically this the input that is associated with the name will get selected, will be focused, so that we know that okay, the name belongs to this input, the email belongs to this one. All right, if you agree with me, let's continue. So you have to come to the label. There is an attribute for labels that is called for. All right, for, for, and the for is going to target the particular input that you want this label to this label to target. Okay, mind you that when we were dealing with attributes, we came across attributes like classes and ID. Okay, and with IDs are unique. Every element in the HTML, is supposed to have a unique ID. The IDs you give to your element should not be the same. The ID for input 1 should not be the same in input 2. For classes, they can be the same, but for ID, it is very, very important you make your IDs unique. Okay, so since this one is about name, it makes more sense for me to say name. Okay, so this one has an ID of what? Of name. And then the label for. What do you think we have to do? We need to connect the ID from this side to the label. When we connect the ID from here to here, what will happen is this label will now have the understanding that okay, I am a label and I am made specifically for this input. Let's see this in action. So name here and then save. Let's go to the browser, refresh, click on it. Very good. Hello, I hope it's working at your end. Okay, so when I click on the name, automatically this input gets selected. What does this tell you? This is trying to tell you that the name label, this name label here is meant specifically for this input. One thing that I also see in websites most of the time is that you see that there will be some sort of hint inside this text box. Maybe a name in a graph form, you get what I mean. Sort of like a placeholder in it that when we click on it, then it disappears. When the input becomes blurred, then it's okay. That's what we will be doing. So that one, we have to give our input an attribute called placeholder. Okay, and placeholder is like placeholder just gives a hint. Say hint. Yes, it gives hint to the input box. Maybe the person does not know what he's doing, so you give them example to follow. So example of the name is I love to use my studio name, Code with Ibra. That's the name I love most. So Code with Ibra. We go and then we refresh. Okay, You see, the name is coded with Ibra. Once I start to type, you see that the placeholder would vanish. Okay, it has come. It is gone. It has come. Okay, so I want you also to pause the video and implement. You see, when you click on the name, when you click on the name, you see that the input element associated with the name gets selected. And number 2, there's a placeholder here. Okay, so this is what I want to do for the email, age, and then the password. I want you to make it in such a way that when you click on the email, this input here will get selected the same way as it's happening here. The same thing to this one, the same thing to the password. And also, I want you to give a hint, a placeholder text in the email, in the age, and also at the password field. Okay, pause this video and do it, and after that you come and you continue. All right, I hope you were able to do it, and if you were not able to do it, don't worry, let's do it together. Okay, let's minimize it. Come to the email for email. Yeah, let's create the ID first. ID for email, that's unique for the email. So this one will reference here, and then we give this one to an ID. Call what? Age. Call age. Then label for age. And then this one is let's give it an ID of password. Password. Label for password. Label for password. Okay. This is the register button. As for the button, we will come to it later. So let's go to the form and let's refresh. We click here, click here, click here. Wow, it's working. It's left with the placeholders. Let's input that fast. So placeholder, maybe code with ibra@gmail.com, and the placeholder for the age is maybe 23, so that they will get to know that they have to put their age. And then placeholder for password, as a password, just say password. Okay, and let's go back to check things up. Refresh. Very good. Okay, so this one, the placeholder will just give hint to the user that okay, I have to type my age, and you put the age here. Some of us are 99 years. That is you, yeah, so you put it here, and then the name, the email, the password. Okay, and then let's come to the button. With the button needs an attribute. The button also need an attribute. Okay, so the attribute for the button is type. So we have so many types of button here. Okay, we have the submit, we have the button, we have the menu, we have the reset, and we have the submit. Okay, so basically what this means is with the submit will submit the form. Okay, if we want to see if the form has been submitted, let me do something small here. You bring hash and then you type form submitted. Okay, form submitted. The input is submit. Let's watch it in action. We first, let's remove this one from there. This is the page. Okay, and then let's click on the register. Very good. When we click on the register, you can see, I don't know how I will zoom that, but you can see from the address that we have form submitted. Okay, so that is simply telling us that with the input type of submit, it is used to submit the forms. Okay, it's used to submit the forms. We have input type button. When you declare it input type button, the button will not be if you click on it, nothing will happen. Why will nothing happen? It will not happen because it's just a button. It's not submitting anything. Click on it and see. Hello, are you with me? So if you click on it, you see that nothing is happening. This is telling the form that no, this particular one is not the one that will submit the form. It's telling the form that this button, this one has the type button, so it's just any other kind of button. It's not the one that will submit the data, so it will not submit the data. Okay, all right. And then we have the reset. We have the reset. As for the reset, it's very powerful. It's very simple as well. So refresh the page and let us input name. So code with Ibra. I love this name so much. Code with Ibra at gmail.com. And then the age is, let me say I'm 49 years. And then the password is 123. Let's click on the register. What did you see here? We input data in the form, but once we clicked on it, all the data that we input was gone. Okay, so that is telling us that the reset will just clear everything from the form input form. Okay, so if that is the case, I'm sure it will make sense for us to just do things like this to know the buttons and their uses. So let me just copy and paste, but as for you, it will be okay for you to type them, because the more you type, the more you get familiar with it. Copy and pasting is good, but it's good when you know what you are doing. For beginners, I will not recommend you copy and paste. You have to keep typing, go the hard way so that you get it. All right, you will get to know things better. All right, so this is what we have now. This is what we have. Let's refresh the page to see the changes. We have register button, which submits, which registers the user. We have the button, which does nothing, because as for button is just for button's sake. And then the reset is for clearing data. Okay, I have this extension that will populate the form. Oh, what is happening? It's not working. Okay, so let me just go to code with Ibra as my name, and then the email is code with Ibra at gmail.com, and then my age is, okay, I'm 150 years old. Okay, you will not accept, but that's it. 1 2 3 4. When we click on register, look at what happens. But you see form submitted. Let's come back. If we click on button, nothing happens. If we click on the reset, everything is gone. Okay, so that should basically tell you what it does. But by default, if we specify a button in a form, okay, if we specify a button in a form and we did not give it any type, the form will automatically assume that because this one is a button, the type is submit. Okay, but if we have more buttons, then there's a need for us to specify which one is the submit button. Okay, you see this one, we did not specify anything for the button here, yet it is acting as the submit button because that's the only button that we have. Okay, now let us go into the aspect of the form, the get. This is comment. Earlier when I explained this to you, let us go to the action. Okay, let's make the action nothing. Let's make it blank. And then for us to really see things in action, we need to give our field names. Okay, every field must have a name. Every field must have a name, so that other languages can like JavaScript and PHP can talk to them. Okay, they must have names. So I give this one a name of, let me say name, because that's what it represents. And then I give this one to a name of email, because it's all about email. Your names should be descriptive. Okay, whatever name you give, it should be descriptive. And then the password is also password. Very good. Okay, autosave has saved it already. So let us now see things in action. Let's see things in action. The name, oh, I love this name so much. Code with Ibra. That's very good. I hope you also like it. So code with ibra@gmail.com. What was my age those times? I was 95, something like that. Maybe 80. 80 will make it. Okay. And then the password is 1 2 3 4. Let's hit register. Very good. Now if you can look at the address, okay, if you can look at that address, you'll see that the name is code with Ibra and email is code with ibra@gmail.com, and the age is also 80. Okay, I think one thing is not showing. The password needs to show. What is happening to the password? Oh, okay, it's supposed to be name. Sorry, my bad. It's supposed to be name. I made a mistake. My bad. Okay, come back. No need to refresh. 1 2 3 4. Go back again. All right. So we can now see that my name is this. Okay, and email is equal to this, and age is equal to 80, and password is equal to 1 2 3 4. Okay, the password that was hidden here, password which was asterisk here, now the web the address has revealed the password that is what is 1 2 3 4. This is one of the dangers of using the get method. The get method, you should never use the get method for sensitive informations. If you want to register your users or take information, it's not advisable to use the get method, because one thing about the get method is it will expose the information to the browser so that hackers can easily see your information. They can get to know your password, and anything they want to do with it, they will go on to do with it. Okay, so it's very, very advisable to use this method called post. As for post, it's a very secure way of sending data to the server that will not be seen. Okay, so let's see the post also in action. All right, so let us clear the URL, refresh everything back again, and this is what we have. Let's start again. Code with ibra@gmail.com, and my age, okay, this time around I am 95 years old, and then my password is 1 2 3 4. Okay, let's register. Very good. Now we've registered. Okay, the data is sent. You don't see anything here. The reason why you are not seeing anything here is we've not redirected the form to any page. Okay, we've not redirected the form to any page. That is why you are not seeing anything in action. But let's look at how we will redirect forms. So come to the project section and create a new project and call it profile.html. Okay, and this profile, let us declare our doc type HTML. This is the basic that we did in the first lecture, and I'm sure you have not forgotten about it. So my profile, we have the body, and then there's an H1 call you are logged. Okay, let's make it you are registered. Okay, let's make it you are registered. Okay, you are registered. So when the users fill the form and they submit it, then they are taken to this page. That's the rationale behind it. So we will make the action is equal to profile. Oh, my bad. Profile. What is going on? Profile.html. Okay, profile.html. That means we are sending the request to the profile.html, but nothing really is going to happen because this is just the skeleton. You cannot expect to see the name we type inside the name as the name field to also appear here. No, it's not going to work because we need to add some things to it, and we've not gotten to that side. So for now, we are going to see static data, and that's perfectly fine. That's perfectly fine for the doing. Okay, so here's the form. Let me just code. I love this name too much. Now I am 800 and whatever age. Okay, and the password. Register. Hello, I hope you are with me. So we are seeing you are registered. Okay. So this is how basically you make a registration page, whereby when they log in or when they register, then you take them to another page. This is how things look like. Okay. All right. And also let me go back to the form and see something else. All right, I think for now this is what we need. There are so many things, but I think for now this is what we need. But then I would like to add one particular thing to you so that you will be fine. You'll be fine. So label for profile image. Okay, if you want the user to upload an image, there's also an input that handles that particular aspect. You just have to declare the input and then give it the type of file. Okay. Let's give it an ID and call it let's say image, because that describes it. We call it image, and then we give this one to the attribute of 4, so that the profile image label will target the profile the input with the ID image. Let's go back to the browser and refresh. We keep seeing this because we've changed the method of submission to post. That is why these things are coming. So I will want to take them out so that at least it will not be asking me sort of questions. So let's say get, and where is the profile? Okay, this is the profile. All right, so everything is now ready. Let us go to the form. Okay, hello, I hope you are seeing everything on the screen. We have the profile and we have the choose file. Let's just make things look right. This one is not really readable, so I will just add BR here so that it will break it to the next line. Oh, so I don't want this thing. Let's go to the index. Okay, so we have the profile image. Okay, when we click on the profile image, we are prompted to upload a file. So let me go to the desktop, and I have website, images, I have avatar. I click on it, and here will display to us the name of the target selected file, the name of the chosen file. So in this case, the name of the chosen file is avatar.png. Okay, it's avatar.png. And from children's or child's, let me see, however. Okay, that's not how. Label for text. Okay, let's call it okay, comments. And for comments, we don't use the input tag. As for comments, we use something different. It is called text area, because that's where we give the user the permission of typing whatever they want to say. Okay, and text area is not self-closing, it needs to be closed. Okay, and in between, one thing about text area is it does not need any child. You don't have to put any child here, just make it as it is, like this. Okay, don't worry yourself making it anyway, just make it like this, but bear it in mind that it does not require any child. It does not need any child. You can't put content here. If you put content here, it will be fine, but it will be displayed inside the site, which will not be that cool. See, it has come here. Always when we refresh, it will show here. I don't know why they made it that way, but I suggest it shouldn't have been there. So this is how you are to make your text area. Okay, and we have rows. Let's make the rows 10 and see what happens. If we make the rows 10. Very good. Okay, so you see, sort of like as giving a weight to the text area. Let's go with 3 and see what happens as well. This is it. Okay, but it's not the form is not really looking nice, but my point is not about the beautification of the form. I just want you to understand and see how things are. Okay, building forms is not it's not the goal now, but the goal is to actually know how the skeleton work, how the rough work is. Okay, so here's the comment. And others, as you can see, let us give an ID to our text area, an ID of maybe, let's call it comment, and then 4. We give it comment, and then we come back here. We click on the comment here. You see, that's what lies here. When you click on it, very good, you see that the text area is selected. You can also apply placeholder to it, and it will work. Placeholder, so let's say something. So with the say something, that's what you're going to see here. All right, that's what you're going to see here also. And there's one thing that I also want you to know as far as working with forms. So let's come here. Let's come here. Then edit tag with the label of gender, and then with the gender I say select option. Don't worry, I will explain everything to you as we go on. Okay, so choose option, and then option is male, and then option is female. Okay, very good. So this is we have what we have here is selection. You go to a website and they are asking you maybe choose something, choose your name, select your occupation. This is how it goes. Okay, this is how it goes. Actually, even though this is the skeleton, but it's not being readable, let's add some br to the end of all the br to all the divs, so that things will look nice, at least can be readable for our eyes. It's not good to be seeing things that has no meaning, so let us add them. And if you are enjoying this course, kindly consider subscribing and joining our Telegram channel for more. Okay, so let's look at our download. All right, now we have seen some spaces in our code. Okay, we are now seeing spaces. So this is what we just did, the gender. Okay, the gender. When you click on the drop down, click on this one, there's a drop down, and you get to choose what you want. Maybe gender if you are male, if you are female, if you are male. But the default one is going to be choose option. Okay, let us come and then do the explanation. So we all know, we are all familiar with the label. As for the label, that is what is placed there for the customer or the user to know what he is to do, or the input they are expecting from him or her. And then the select, this is what we see here. The select is this one. You see, this one is the select. Very good. And what is inside is the option. So the option tag is there to give options for the user to select. Okay, So the parent of the option is select. This is their parent. So there's parent name select, open and closing, and its children will come into. And remember, the options are children of the select. So that's how it is this way. And one thing about a select element is always the first option. That is what will be shown when the page loads. So you see, we can even select female, and when we refresh, it will go back to the options, choose option, which is the first element, the first child in the select parent element. Okay. All right. So I think with this, hello and welcome to this section of HTML forms. So in this section, we are going to look at the radio buttons. We are also going to look at date, time, and other things that we've not looked at. So the number one on the list is the radio buttons. So in HTML, the radio buttons is sort of like a clickable button that we click to select choices. Let's look at how it looks like. So first, let's declare the label and let's call it gender. So the values of this gender is going to be the male, and then the male will give it an input with a type of radio, and then another one to, okay, let's give it another value again of female, input type of also radio, and then another one, let's say maybe neutral. For neutral is also going to be input type of radio. Okay, and let's end the written successfully. Everything is already saved automatically, and if you are not aware of how to save things automatically, you come here, then you come to the file, and then you check the auto save. With that one, each time you whenever you are typing, the code editor will automatically save your progress. You don't need to worry yourself saving anything. So this is it. Let's view it in the browser. You go to the browser, you refresh, and this is what we have. We have gender, we have male, we have female, and then neutral. Okay, but then it's on a line, so I don't think it's looking nice. So let me break things so that each value will sit on its own line, so that things will be very, very cool. So let's introduce line break. That is the BR. The purpose of the line break is to make sure that no other element will come in front of the label. Okay, each time you introduce a line break in front or beneath like this, each time you introduce the line break, it will make sure that no other element will be able to come next to the element you are applying the BR tag against. Okay, when this happens, it will automatically make the element block level element, preventing other elements from coming in front of them. So that is what we are doing in this video. We are simply making the gender stand out so that the male, female will not follow it, will not be in front of it as it is in this video. So let's refresh and see. Very good. When we refresh, you see the gender is sitting on its own line. Let's come here also and then add the BR tag in front of the male so that the male will get to sit on its fresh line. BR. Okay, it's already saved automatically, so let's view the changes in our browser. Very good. Now we see the gender is sitting on its own line, and then the male, female, neutral, they are all sitting on their very line. But you see something, this one is not that descriptive, so let's give it a descriptive name. So let's say maybe select gender. Very good. Let's now look at the changes. Now select gender. Oh, I've opened something I shouldn't have opened. Okay, select gender. Okay, so what this is, when you go to a site and you see something like this, you have the chance to select your gender. Okay, but there was something I want you guys to take a look at here. Sorry, it was small. There's something I want you guys to take a look at. You see the gender. Let's say that I'm selecting my gender, so I choose male. When I choose male and I say, oh, I've made a mistake, let me change it. So I'm going to choose neutral. Look at what happens. Okay, under normal circumstance, when I click on male, all the other buttons should deselect by default, so that only one get focused or only one gets chosen. But in this case, I selected the gender. I now want to change it and go for the neutral option, and the neutral has also gotten the checked. Let's take that you want to choose the female too. We click the female, and female is also checked. So how do we go about it? Very good. Let us go to the code and look at something. Now this is what is happening behind the scenes. HTML gets to identify group of radio buttons. When it identifies the groups of them, then it knows how to deal with them. So for us to be able to select either male or female or neutral, we need to tell HTML that this 1, 2, this 1, 2, 3, they are all the same. They are from the same class. They are from the same group. Like, we are dealing with them the same, so that you will know that, okay, since they are the same, if you select this one, let me deselect all of them and give you this one. If you change it, let me deselect everything and give you the one that you just changed. Okay, so how we do that one is we give it a name attribute. So name is equal to, let's call it gender, since that is what this is all about. So we will give the male a name of gender. We will also give the female a name of gender, and just as you guessed, we are going to also give the neutral a name of gender. Once we have given it a name of gender, it has already automatically saved. Let me close this thing. Once we have given it the gender, so let's refresh, and now let's see what happens. I choose male. I don't want to choose male again. I want to choose neutral. Okay, you see, I don't want to choose neutral. I want to go to female. All right, so this is what has happened behind the scenes. HTML now knows that, okay, this male, this female, this neutral, they are all the same. They are from the same class. We are dealing with them not separately, but the same. The moment I change this one from gender to maybe, let me give it, let's call it none, for instance, or just any name at all. The moment I change the female, you see that the female will not be responsive. It will not behave the way we want it to behave. So female, you see, the male has the gender, and then the neutral has also the gender, so they will work. Let's look at that in the browser. The neutral and the male are working, but because we've not given the female a name that is matching the male and then the neutral, is going to treat this one separately. It will see this one as from a different class. So look at what happens. We click male, female, neutral. You see, so this one is not following the standard. It is going by its own way because it has a different class. So what you have to do is the group of input radio buttons that you are working on, they all need to have the same name. Okay, they all need to have the same name, and then we have to give them value of what they represent. Okay, so that in the future when we want to use JavaScript or any other programming language like PHP, PHP server-side language, to get the input of the user, we can simply extract the value or whatever the user clicked on. So that will come here. This is representing a male. We say male, and then the female too has a value of female, in that order. This one too has a value of the neutral. Okay, so this is what is happening behind the scene. When you click on the button, let's go to the browser. We have given them values. So when you click on this one and maybe in the future you submit the form, the server side will get the input. You will see that, okay, the button that you selected was the male, the one you selected was female, in that order. Okay, so this is all about labels in HTML. The next one that I'm going to focus or go to is the date time. There are sometimes you will want to take or collect date from your users. So let's introduce some line breaks, okay, some BR tags, so that we will have some bunch of space. All right, let's begin with our date input. So let's say date of birth. Okay, with the date of birth, this is just the label. Let us come to the actual thing. That input type of date, and then let's close it. You go back to the browser, you refresh. This is date of birth. Okay, date of birth. You click on it, then the date will open. So you get to choose your date. Maybe you are born 2007 June, and you select the date, and it will automatically be selected here. Okay, this is not something that is very difficult. It's all about selecting the date, just giving the type of the input as date, so that automatically when the form when the page is opened, you get to see your date as it is in my browser. Okay, and mind you, I taught you in the other previous lecture that the date of birth, with the labels, we can do it in such a way that when you click on the date, then automatically the input it represents will also get focused automatically. And how we do that one is very simple. You come to the label side, you give it the 4 attributes, and then the 4 attributes must match the ID of the input. So let's give it this an ID of date of birth. Let's say one thing you have to take notice of is all your inputs, all your attribute names, they must be descriptive. They have to match, like they need to really describe what they are representing. Okay, so we are telling the label that, okay, you label, you are for the date of birth ID. So it will check through the whole document and locate the one that has the ID of date of birth. So if the ID was to be here, that was where it will locate it. Okay, so let's move on. Refresh. Click on the date of birth. Automatically, you see that this one has the focus. Okay, has the focus. All right, so that is all about date. And it's not only date. You also have date time. Maybe you want to choose the date time something occurs. That one too exists. Let's refresh. See, oh, it shouldn't have happened this way. I don't know why this thing is happening. Date time. Let me see. Date time local. Let's refresh. All right, so I think you have to go by the date time local approach. Okay, date time dash local approach. Automatically the ID will suggest it for you, so you click on it and everything will work as expected. So with the date time, it's just like the date, just that this one gives us the flexibility to also add date to it. So this is it. Okay, you can select the date here. You can select your date, maybe 2022 September 18th. Okay, then you choose the date, the time. So this is 9:43. Maybe you want 2:50 p.m. Okay, you see everything is successfully here. Everything is given here. We've seen what we selected from the time pop-up. Okay, so this is all about date and time. But it's not only the date and time that we have some bunch of other things that we will look at. we also have the color. Okay, the color. There can be a time where you want you want your users to maybe select their favorite color or choose color. So this is what we are going to look at. Label for color. Maybe let's say select color, and we come to inputs, and then the type is color. You see, color. Very good. The type is color, and let's give this an ID of color so that we can tell the label that, okay, you label, you are for the color element. Okay, you are for the element with the ID color. So everything is saved successfully. We refresh and we see it in action. So select color, you just click on it and this one gets focused. You get to choose the color you want. This is it. You can change the color styling, the codes. You can change them here. You can use this one to be so in that order. You can manipulate it. You can change it to how you want it. So that's all about color. Your users get the flexibility of selecting the colors that they want. And not only that, we also have something called range. So let's introduce a bunch of BR so that we can have some spaces. We have also range, label for range. Okay, range is sort of like allowing your users to select a particular number or maybe a range of numbers. Okay, let's see it in action so that you understand it better. So input type of range, okay, range, okay, and let's give it an ID of maybe range, because that is what describe this element. The four element is the four attribute will be matching the range, so that, and let me say this one once again, in your HTML document, do not try to give multiple IDs to your element. Each element is entitled to one particular ID. IDs are supposed to be unique everywhere. IDs are supposed to be unique everywhere. So wherever you are coding, make sure your IDs are unique. The ID you give here, do not repeat it somewhere here. Each and every element is entitled to one particular unique ID. Don't give the ID you gave to element 1 to element 2. That is not how it works. Okay, all right, so let's go to check the range. You see how the range is. So you can select your range. Excuse me, sorry. You can select it like this and choose in that order. So it is all about range. When we progress in this lecture, we are going to be adding some few steps to it. I think that's when we get to JavaScript, so that indeed we can know the number and what really goes behind the scenes, how we can let the user select a particular number, range, and other things. So we will dive deeper with this when we get to when we get to JavaScript. That is where we are going to see most of the things. Aside that, we get to add some attributes to the range. We can, for instance, give it the minimum range to be maybe 10, and then the max range to be 100. But I don't think it will be seen here. Okay, it will not be shown here. But as we add flesh to it, it is going to be seen. We are going to know that, okay, the user chose 50, he chose 10, he chose 11, and that order. So this is it. And there was one quick thing that I want to show you, want to add to it. You see, we did let me see, you label H, and then input type of number, okay, input type of number. Let's go to the browser and refresh. We have this one. In the near future, we are going to install an extension called Live Server that will automatically load the page for us. So for now, we don't have it, so let's move on this way. This is the age attribute. This is the number input type of number, and with the input type of number, there are some things we can specify. You see this arrows here, it is used to either increase the number or decrease the number, but there can be a situation where you don't want the users to select a particular number. Maybe you don't want them to select 0 or negative. You want them to choose maybe from 1 to 10, 1 to 10, not 0. So what you do is, in the input type number element, we give it an attribute of min that represents the minimum length. So the min is 1, and then the max is 50, or let's say the max is 9. We go to the browser, we refresh, you see something here. You see the length has even reduced in size. So let's try to reduce. When we try to reduce, it's not working. It's only 1 because we've set the minimum to 1. We've also set the max to 9. Let's see this in action. So the max, very good. You see, it's not going beyond the max value specified. Okay, yeah, so that's all. And there can be a situation to where you want to accept decimals. If you want to accept decimals, there's a way of doing that one too. So if you want to accept decimals too, what you have to do is, inside the number element, you specify steps. So the step should be equal to 0.5. That is when you want a step of 0.5. If you want a step of 0.1, you also put it here, but I'm going to do it with 0.5. By default, the step is 1, so that each time you press on the increment button, it will increment whatever that is inside the box by 1. But now that we've made the step to be equal to 0.5, when we click here, it will increase whatever that is inside the input box. It will increment it by 0.1. So let's see: 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5. Okay, so this is how you accept decimals. You can also make it 0.2. Let's check how the 0.2 is going to work. So the minimum is 1, so it will start from 1, 1, 0.2, 0.4, 0.6, you see, in that order. Alright, so that is how you go about with your input type of number. This one is only applicable to input type of number. If the input type is not number, it's not going to work. Okay, let me also go back quickly to something that I left in the previous lecture and show you here. Okay, label of, let's say, I want your name. So with the name, come here, and then I give it an input type of what? Who can guess it? Very good. It's a text. If you said text, you are correct. If you didn't, I'm sorry, I'm afraid you are wrong. Okay, so let's refresh and let me zoom things correctly. All right, so this is the name. This is the name element. Let's make it more readable. Refresh. Okay, this is the name attribute. Okay, sorry, the name element. And let's take it as, I want the length, the full length of the name to be only 4 characters. I don't want it to exceed 4 characters. What I have to do is I have to come inside the input type of text, and then I apply an attribute called max length, and I make it 4. When I make it 4, look at what happens. You refresh and let me mention my name. Let me try to type a name, John. You see, I'm typing, but it's not coming. Why is it not coming? It's not coming because I've specified that the max length of this input should be only 4 and not more than 4. If this one is set to 0, you know what will happen? Let's refresh and see. Hello, are you with me? I am typing, but it's not coming because I have set this one to be what? 0. Okay, and there's one other thing that I want to show you. For now, let's remove it and let's make it maybe 100 so that it can receive up to 100 characters. There can be a situation where you don't want a particular form to be readable, to be writable. You don't want your users to be able to change the values of a particular input element. So let's take it as the age attribute like this. I want it in such a way that you cannot write anything inside, like it will be disabled forever. It will be disabled unless you specify it not to be disabled. So I will come inside the input element and give it an attribute of disabled. Okay, when I give it an attribute of disabled, let me refresh. You see this one, it has grayed out. If you compare the color of this one to this one, it should suggest to you that this one is no more working. Okay, are you with me? You know that this one is not working because it has grayed out and we cannot even click it. We can't type anything. Okay, and there may be a situation to where you want it to be read only. So you can let's come to the name attribute and apply the read only property. Read only attribute to the input type of text, that is the name. Let's try to refresh. Okay, when we refresh, if you look at the name and then age, you still see some difference. You see that the age is disabled and even the borders and the input itself is grayed out, but the name has, it shows that it's working. But let's try to type something and see. Have you seen it? It's not working. So the read only is meant for just reading sake. Okay, it does not make sense to combine the two, the read only and at the same time the disabled to your element. That does not make sense. What you have to do is you decide either you want it to be disabled or you want it to be read only. For read only and disabled, your users will be able to see whatever value that comes inside. Okay, they will be able to see whatever that comes inside, but they cannot change it, they cannot amend it. It's just as the name implies, read only. Okay, so we can give this one a value attribute. What this value attribute does is, this is what represents the actual characters that comes inside the input. Okay, so in the near future, if we start using JavaScript, we can take or collect the value of any input element using the value attribute. Okay, so let me type something here like how. Okay, it's name, so let me just call John Smith. Okay, John Smith. Come here, refresh. You see John Smith here. Okay, so the name has the read only property attached. So, and also we've given it the value of John. So when we come here and we refresh, the John is there. We can change it, we can select it, we can delete it. Okay, in that order. So this is all about the read only and then the disabled. And the age too, you can see we can give the age a value of maybe 5. Okay, let's go to the browser and refresh. You also see that the 5 is there. Okay, you see that the 5 is there, but the 5 cannot be changed, cannot be edited, it can be just there. You just look at it and go. So the difference between the disabled and then the read-only is very simple. As for the disabled, it restricts you. You can't even have the ability to focus, click on the text to see whether it is selected or not selected. You just look at it as it is. And with the read-only tool, you can look at it, you can even select it, and you see the selection around them, but you cannot change them, you cannot edit it. You can just highlight them just as any other text can be highlighted, but you cannot change anything. Okay, so this is all about the read-only and then the disabled, also the min and then the max, just as I explained it to you earlier. The minimum specify the minimum type of the minimum characters that the input should accept, and then the max also, just as the name shows, the maximum number of characters that the input should contain. And then we have the step. The step is where you want to be jumping to, maybe from 1 I want to go to 1.2, from 1.2 to you add another in that order. Okay, and then the value, this value attribute actually specify what will come into the form, or what will come into the elements. So the value specify what will come into the element. Okay, let me change this one and make it 552. We open the browser and we refresh, we see 553. Sorry, 553. Okay, this is all about the value attribute. It will put it will just give some default values to the element. And there's one thing that you need to take notice here. Okay, we have the, if the input type is number, then you have the min and then the max. But the input type is text, you don't need to give it min and then max. You need to give it max length or the min length. All right, you need to give it the max length or the min length. Okay, so the length, it will come, the max length and the min length will come only if the input type is not number. This one is text. If it's not number, this is how it goes: min length and max length. And let me give you this quick notice. Don't try to give min length and max length to emails. Okay, because some people may have an email that has a length of maybe like 50. So if you restrict them to maybe 10 or 50, no, if you restrict them to maybe 20, it will not give them the access to input their their emails. So it's very, very recommended that you leave it as it is for the email. We will look at validation later in the course, so you don't need to worry yourself. Okay, this is text. So whenever it is text that you are validating, but you can as well use the min length and the max length for emails. It will work. Okay, it will work. What I'm saying is the min length and the max length should be applied to only a type of text, and then the min and then the max should only be applied to an input type of numbers. All right, there was one other input that's, I want to show you guys. I think that's going to be the last 10. Label of phone number. So phone number too is just like any other number. Okay, so there are many, there are many of them. You take the tail. Okay, the tail, the type input type of tail. The tail stands for telephone. The tail stands for telephone. So we can simply give it an ID of saying phone number, and then we say that this label is for the phone number. we open a browser and refresh, and when we refresh we see phone number. Okay, we click on it, this one gets selected. Basically this one, I don't know why those who came up with the HTML language, I don't know what was wrong with them for bringing this, because it accepts number, it accepts alphabet, it accepts number. I don't know why they put it, they even brought it as part of the inputs, but this is how it is. The type tel is believed to be a type that takes only number. Okay, it takes telephone numbers, but when you go to check it, you see that it's not like that. It can take numbers, it can take alphabets, everything, just like the input text. Okay, so that's something about, and in fact there are so many of them, but these are the most popular and the ones that you use. We have input types like, months, date. We've covered that one, and other things. So this is all that I can say. As for the time and other things, they are all available. Input type, time, and the date time, they are all there for you. Okay, so basically this is all about HTML forms, and these are the ones that you will be using them most of the times. Okay, but this is just the prefaces, so later when we get to JavaScript, I'll try my best, and then we will go back, and then we will look at also attributes like value, what they really means, and how we can access the values of HTML elements from JavaScript and other stuff. Okay, in fact I will end the video here, and I will thank you for your time. I will ask you that if you've not subscribed, kindly consider subscribing to the channel. Help it and help support us, and let's grow together, so that in the near future we can be bringing more content. This is what keeps us motivated. All right, so let me know your comments, let me know your decisions, and let me know what your views are. If I'm correct, if I made a mistake somewhere too, you try to correct me as well. Thank you so much. Hello and welcome back to the section. In this section we are going to look at HTML tables. There may be a time that we will want to show list of items, but in a table form. There are also many times where tables are shown in websites, so it's a very good idea to know tables in HTML. So yes, let's take a look at tables. Let's see tables in action. For you to start with tables, you need a table tag. All right, there's something we call semantics in HTML. With semantics, they are tags that describe exactly what they do. Semantics. We have semantic tags and non-semantic tags. A tag like form and then a table, they are semantic tags because they describe exactly what they do. Okay, so that's a quick thing you need to take notice of. So for us to start with a table, we need a table tag. So tab, very good, table. Okay, and we can all bear witness that in any table we have the head and then we have the body. If I say head, we have where, for instance, a list of table about let me say student, the name of the student, we have on the heading as the student's name, the grade, the course, and other stuff. Okay, so we have the heading and then we have the body. Let's continue. I will show it in a much detailed way for you to understand. Okay, so in the skeleton of the table we have table head, but instead of writing table head we make it short, called T head. Okay, T head. Okay, this is a T head. And then when we are coming to write about the body, Oh, my bad, sorry, it's t head, not t body, t head. The same like the HTML, that we have the head and then we have the body. See, the HTML head shows information about the website in general, and that's the same thing too with the table. The table has two sections, that is the head section and then the body section, but this one is not head. If we make it head, that means a conflict with the HTML head, so it is prefixed with t, so that with that there will be some differentiations, that this one is not the same as this one. Do you get it? So we have t head. T head is for the table head. Okay, with the table head, this is where the headings of the table will come. You will see it in action, don't worry. And we have something called tr. Tr stands for table row. Okay, table row. So you also see that one in action. Don't worry, everything, we will get everything correctly. Let's work together. So the number one on the list, I want to say ID, and then another one to be the name, and then TD. Another one will be school. Okay, and the last one will be let's call it grade. Very good. This is the head section. This is not anything difficult. Okay, this is not anything difficult. We have the table head, telling the table that, okay, table, this section of the code is going to be the head aspect, the headings. Why don't I just save it so that you see what I'm talking about? Okay, all right. Before I had some junk table that was on that. Now it's not there. Okay, very good. This is so far what we have, and the ID is bold, but these ones are not bold. That means there's something wrong with the code. So very good. It's supposed to be TH, okay, not TD. TH meaning table hot, table head. This is a table head. TH, okay, TH. So let's fix the error. As for error, they are always there for you to be perfect, so don't be afraid of them. They are your friend. They are there to help you. Okay, so yeah, you see, because they are table head, it is bold. It is bold. Okay, all right. So once we are done with this side, the table row simple tell us that this is a first row. If you want your table to have multiple rows, like a first row, second row, third row, which I don't think is something you see most often, so let us keep it this way. We have at the head section, we have only one row, one table row, which contains the ID, the name, the school, and then the grade. Okay, we are done with the head aspect. Now let us get to the body. Okay, let us get to the body. So table body, it should have been body like this. Okay, but you see that this one, HTML, the root HTML has body here, so table cannot come and use this body too. There will be conflicts. So instead, we will prefix it with T, then body, meaning this is the table body. Okay, and the table body needs row, so TR, row. Okay, let's input data, the same as what we did here. That's what we are going to do here. You see, this one was TH. Why it was TH is because it was referencing, it's just a convention to tell the browser that this is the table head, TH, table head. Okay, TH, and this one is the T body. So we are not going to say TH again. We are going to say what? TB. Okay, why TB? Because table body. Very good. Thanks for your understanding. So what is this one? This one is ID. So ID number 1. Okay, as the first one. Then the second one is name. So we come back here. TB. Oh, sorry. I think I'm making a mistake here. Oh, mistakes are actually good. When you make them, it makes you perfect. So don't be afraid of them. This one will be TD, not TB. That's how it is. TD, table data. Okay, the data in the table. So it's TD, not TB. This one is going to be TH, but for the T body section is going to be TD. All right. Okay. So that's it. As I said it earlier on, we make mistake to become perfect. So don't be afraid of them. And then the name of the student is, actually I have one guy from Kumasi that I'm chatting with. I don't know the name. I would have used his name here, but okay, all the same. If you chat with me, let me know your names. Okay, there's my guy at UDS. The name is Ibrahim, so let me use it. At least that's also my name. So Ibrahim, UDS, from UDS. Okay. And then okay, and then the school TD, the school is UDS. Yeah, that guy is very good. He's doing computer science, so you can know he's part of the computer gurus. And there's other guy, I want to know the name, but well, some of them, they have some fancy names. The name is like, some guy was chatting with me, the name was Dots. Others too, the name was Emoji, so it was very difficult. How can I say emoji? Hello, let's continue. So TD, and then the grade. This is the grade. So let me say grade is, that guy is brilliant. So grade, let me give him 94. Okay, very good. I want us to save it and look at something here in the browser. Very good. So you see the headings. These are the headings, the TH, and then these ones are the TD, which is the table data. Okay, and then the first row, this is the first row. Okay, the first row, or under the T body, this is the first row. So with the first row, that's what we are having here. Ibrahim UDS, and the school is UDS. The grade is 94. Okay, we are going to have another row again. I think HTML should have been, I think this side should have been TB instead of TD, because if it was to be TB, that one will follow the conversion and things are going to be much easier though. But now that's how they designed the language, so we have to follow them. But I was suggesting that it should have been TB, so that it will mean table body. But all the same, we have what we have, so it is what it is. TR, another row, and this row, the first one is what? ID. So TD is ID. My friend Ibrahim was ID number 1, so this one is ID number 2. And then we have the name, so TD. We have the name as the second column or whatever. Okay, so so TD, and then the name is, let me say, John Francis. Okay, and the other one is school. So the school is a third, so that will be the same here. Third school is, which school? Okay, it's a student of Legon. And then the grade TD. That guy too is very brilliant, but not much, so let me give him 78 as well. Okay, and let's collapse it. We can collapse, we can open. So Control S to save. We go to the browser to refresh, and then we have another one. So this is all about table in HTML. We have the ID, the name, school, and then the grade. And so far so good. These are the students that we have in our HTML table. So there's one thing that we can add so that we can make things look very nice. Okay, go to the table, the master table. We go to the master table here, and we give it an attribute called border. By now you know an attribute. okay, and specify a value, any value you want. So let's say 1. Save it, go to the browser and refresh. Boom, we have a very nice table. And in fact, if this table is not nice for you, I will ask you to be patient. Okay, be very patient. When we get to HTML, CSS, when we get to CSS, we will get to design an amazing and stunning tables. So this is a very basic thing for you to start up with. It is not something that you need to see. Sometimes when you are building skills or building up something, initially it's not going to be what you expect. But as we said it earlier on previously, this is just the skeleton of the site. So you can't expect skeleton to be nice. Okay, skeletons are bones, and bones does not look good to the eye. And that is why God in his own image covered the bones with flesh. So very soon we will be covering these bones with flesh, and you are going to be amazing. You are going to be happy of what you yourself have created. I want to go back to the lectures and explain things to you. Okay, but before I go, the border you can change it to be maybe 20, and you make it 20. It is going to be way different. This is how it looks like now. Okay, this is how it looks like. So that's all about the table. Let's go back and then let me explain this again. What you are seeing here is TR. Okay, it means row. It means row. Okay, so that means let's revert it back to 1. This is row. Okay, this is trying to tell us that in the head section, we have 1 row, but you can have multiple rows. You can have more rows. So if we for instance copy this one, and then paste it here, and we paste it here and refresh, you see that the rows are now 2. Okay, so that's all about the rows. As for the table row, it's simply there for the row. Create a new row for the table details. Okay, so that's it. But for now, we have only 1 row with the table. You can get rid of the TR, but it's a kind of convention, so I want to leave it there. This is how it should be. You have your table, and the table is divided into 2 sections. That is what? The table head and then the table body. With the table head, we have a T row specifying that this is the first row of the table head, of the table headings of the TH. So in the first row we have this one, and this is what we are seeing. Oh, let me refresh. I think I need to save. Okay, and let's refresh. This is what we have. This is the first row, and we are perfectly okay. We are okay with the first row. We don't want multiple rows. And then we come back to the table body. Table body is where the data will be populated according to the headings. Okay, table will be populated according to the headings. Okay, so you see that this one is ID, and the ID for the first row is what? Is 1. Mind you, you cannot put name at the ID section. It will not be consistent. If you do it that way, that's how you are going to see it in the browser, and it's wrong, because ID should be ID, and then the name also should be what? Should be name. So the ID is 1, and then the name of the student is this one here. The school is what? UDS, and then the grade of the student is 94. Okay, this is the first column. The first row. And then the second row is this one, where the ID is 2, the name is John, the school is Legon, and then what? The last one, which is the grade, is 78. Okay, so it should follow in that order. We can populate it to any amount of, like any amount of data that we want, but this is just for teaching sake. So I will end it here. And I hope everything was very cool, everything was good on your side. Wow, let me see you also in the next lecture. Thank you for your time. Hello and greetings to you from wherever you are watching me from. I am very excited and very happy to be seeing you once again. Yes, and in this our lecture we are going to learn about HTML multimedia, how we can play video, audio, how we can use images and all other things in HTML. I'm not going to talk much, but I'm going to show you the most important things, the ones that always you will be using. And when you get it, you can move on to whatever side you want to go. But for this lecture, I will make sure I'll teach you what you really need in order to use HTML video. Before we even start, I have my folder on the desktop. And in the folder, I've created another folder called media. And if you open this media, you see that I have an audio and then video. Okay, these are some files that I'm using to, for illustration sake. We are going to use this file to look at how audio and video are used on our web pages. Let me see. Okay, so first of all, I'll open this one in Visual Studio. I've already done that. So this is where we are. My folder is here, website, and then I have created HTML file called media.html, and this is the folder that contains the audio and the video. Very good. Let me close it. Okay, so first on the list we are going to start with audio. When we say audio, we all know audio. We have so many types of audio. We have the MP3, we have the OGG, we have the WAV, and the other types. There are so many of them. Okay, there are so many of them. So, but my format, the one I'm going to use is MP3, the format that is common everywhere. So before we start, need an audio tag. Okay, this is the audio tag. So our audio will have to come in between these tags, inside the audio elements, inside the audio tag. So inside the audio tag, there's also another tag that we'll have to call, that is source. Source will simply, locating our media file. So let me close it like this. And inside the source file, I'm going to locate where our audio file is. So our audio file, right now we are here. So we have to navigate inside the media folder. So we are here, that is /, mean we are here. Okay, and then we have to go to the media folder. Oh, sorry, my spelling is bad. And then choose the audio. Okay, now we have the audio, everything is saved. Let's go to the browser to see the changes. So minimize, go to website and media. Okay, nothing is showing. Hello, nothing is showing. Why is nothing showing? Okay, very good. Nothing is showing because we are left with one particular thing. If you declare your audio tags and you also lay out the source like this, everything is correct. But for you to be able to see your audio in action, you need to add controls. This controls is what allows you to have control over your audio file. The controls that like pause, next, volume, and other things. So now it has been saved automatically. Let's refresh and see. Very good. Now that we refresh, you see our audio file is there, and when I press it, it will start playing. but where I am, don't think I can make a lot of noise like that, so it is playing. So at your side, I'm sure and I know that your audio file is also playing, and these are the controls, the start and then the pause, and you can forward it, you can bring it back, you can forward it, bring it back, the audio, you can mute it, you can also reduce the volume and other things and other stuff. Okay, so let me close the browser and go back. And there's one thing to that we need to add. We need to add the type of media file that we have located. So type is equal to audio slash mp3, but this one is not going to be mp3. I just brought the mp3 for illustration. Okay, even though the audio file is an mp3 file, but if it's an mp3, you don't have to do this. You need to write mpeg. Okay, mpeg. And if it's other formats like ogg, this side instead of mpeg it will be ogg. And if also your audio file has the extension of the wav, the audio file will also have this side is going to be wav like this. Okay, but if it's an mp3, you just make it mpeg. And the rationale behind this is beyond the scope of this, but just as I said, this is just something basic for you to know how to play around with audio. And after here, more concepts will be coming, so you don't have to worry yourself much on anything that seems confusing. This is how audio files, this is how to go around them. All right, let's review the changes in our browser. At the moment, we are not going to see any changes. It's just going to be there. Okay, it's just going to be there. All right, let's go back to the VS Code. And inside here, we can add any other text that we want. Okay, we can say like some text in the audio file. Some text in the audio file. Let us go to the browser and see. We are here in the browser and we are not seeing the text that we just added. Okay, why we are not seeing this text is very simple. Whatever text that you place here will be shown inside the browser that does not support audio playing. Okay, so if the browser that I'm using does not have support for audio, instead of showing the audio, it will show the text instead. But the one that I'm using has support for audio, so it is showing the audio, and this one will not be shown. So this is an optional text, and it's very important to always bring them because it will be displayed inside any browser that does not support audio. Okay, so instead of typing some text blah 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 like this, it will make sense to write it like this: media is not supported by the browser. Okay, media is not supported by the browser. So with this like this, each time that someone visits our website using old browser, a browser is using a browser that is old and at the same time does not support audio player, will show this one instead. Will show the media blah 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 instead. Okay, but at the moment our browser will not show this one. Why it will not show is because my version supports media, it supports audio. So yeah, that's what we are seeing here. And also there's one thing that I want to show here. You see, we are done with the audio, but let me show you this quickly because it applies everywhere. This is the audio. If we add muted attributes like this, whenever we visit the browser, the audio will be muted by default. So refresh, the audio is muted. Okay, so the muted attribute will automatically, or or by default set the audio volume to mute. We'll mute the audio's volume so that by default there's no sound. You have to specify that you want sound before you can hear something, but that's how it is. Okay, and then we have the HTML video. For HTML video, that's how it goes. You introduce your video tag and then the source, just like the audio now, and then the source. Okay, so I'll go to my current directory, go to the media, and then I'll choose the video. Okay, I choose the video too needs a type, so this one, if you don't bring it, it will work, but always bring it. It's better to always follow the best practices. Okay, so type is equals to video underscore slash mp4, video slash mp4. Okay, so we have the video, and then let's see this thing in action. So minimize, open media file. This is the video. Okay, the video now, the moment the video is here, we cannot click it, we cannot do anything, we cannot even change anything about it. Why it's happening that this way is because we have not added the controls. Okay, so let's add the control and come back. Let's refresh, and we see that there's the audio. This is the audio. Okay, sorry, the video. Now the video is now live on our page. We can play it. Okay, we can play it, we can make it fill the screen, we can do other stuffs here. And why these things is possible, or why we are now having the ability to control volume, this is because of the controls that we added. Okay, we can also, just as we did earlier on, we can mute it. So if you say muted, okay, and you refresh, you see by default, or when the page reloads, the video is paused. The video is muted, the audio is muted. So when the muted attribute is added to the media, it will automatically mute the media, be it be it an audio or video. It will mute it by default. Okay, and this is also like the audio. It's also like the audio. Whatever text that you introduce here, like media, is not supported by the browser. Whatever text that comes here will only be read by a browser that does not support, or browser that has no support for multimedia, be it audio or video. Okay, so if the browser does not have support, it will instead show this one. You see the way that when we were learning HTML images, the alt tag displays whenever the image is unavailable. That is the same way the media is not supported text will also be shown in a browser that does not have support for, be it audio or video, whatever that you are using. Okay, so at the moment we are not seeing that text because my latest browser has support for everything. Okay, so this is also about video. Aside that too, we have the width property. We have the width attribute and then the height attribute. When the video loads, we want to give it a width. When the page starts, we want to give it a width of 120, and then a height of 50. Okay, let's go to the browser, refresh, and see it in action. You see that the width and then the height of the video has changed. Okay, so now let's give it 200, height 200, and let's refresh it. Very good. You see that it has also changed. it's very, very important to always add the width and the height to your videos, because if you don't do that, each time the page loads and the video has no predefined width and height, it will try as much as possible to give it, custom width and height by itself. When that happens, your page load is going to be affected. Okay, you want to make pages that are interactive, pages that are faster. So for you to be able to achieve this, you always need to make sure you add the width and the height attribute to your videos. Okay, that's the same thing we can also do to images. It makes sense to talk about image once again. Okay, that is the same way. Source is equal to your source. Image also requires the width attribute and also the height attribute. Okay, so this is all about HTML media. Let me take them once again. For you to be able to, or for you to start with audio and video, whatever you want to start, you first need the tag. This is the tag, the audio tag. Okay, and you specify the source of whatever file you want to bring on board. So this is the source, and then src. This is the location of where the file is, and then the type is what? audio/mpeg. Okay, I said it that if you are using an mp3 file, the type should be audio/mpeg. If here was to be mp3.ogg, okay, you need to make this one ogg. Or if this one was to be wav, this one should be wav as well. Okay, but at the moment the file that we have on our computer is mp3, and for mp3 it should be mpeg. Okay, and that's the same with video. As for video, if it's mp4, you go straight to the mp4 format. Okay, and we have a text here saying that media is not supported. This media is not supported will be shown inside a browser. Excuse me, it will be shown inside a browser that has no support for the audio or the video, whatever you are using. Okay, so this is all that I can say about HTML multimedia. There are other stuffs, okay, but at the moment this is where I will end it. But then before ending it, I will also like to introduce you to something that I don't think I've talked about before. It's called iframe. Okay, iframe also take the width of 200 and then the height of 200. Let's look at something here. Refresh. See what we have here? We have sort of like a frame inside the browser. So, and this place will accept the source. So the source is where we want to go, or the page we want to display inside the iframe. Okay, all right, inside the iframe, page we want to display inside the iframe. Okay, this is our iframe, and we've given it a defined width and then a defined height. This is what you are seeing over here. Okay, so let me just put the source attribute, and I have some local file stored on my PC. I'm having some issues with my internet connection, so I'm unable to load live page from the site. But you can try if you have active internet. But in my case, I'm not having internet connection, so I have though, but then the connection is not strong. So let me just use the local file. Very good. So you see, this is actually a file, a bootstrap file that I'm viewing inside this one. But let me just increase the width and height so that we can see things clearly. Okay, so the width, let me give it a width of 500 pixels and then a height of 500. Okay, let's just introduce some BR tags here so that we bring it to the next line, so refresh. Very good. Okay, so this is what the iframe does. It gives us the opportunity, let me say the ability, so that we can be able to view an entire website inside a particular page. So what you are seeing here is an entire website of Bootstrap. Okay, we can come to the examples here, and we are seeing the examples. We can come here and then go to the whatever we want, docs. This is the documentations. Okay, so this is what the iframe does. It gives us the functionality, ability of browsing, or like accessing an entire website inside our page. And not only that, one of the most important aspects, or the important reason why iframe exists, is because, see, sometimes there are some times that you want to load a video, but then the format, you don't know the format that you are to choose from. In this case, you see in this video we have the type. Maybe you are accepting video from someone that you don't know the type they will upload, the type that they will, the type that they will send. So with the iframe, it comes in play, so that the issue of having to think and worry about the type of videos will be cleared off. You simply have to input here a video link, maybe a link on YouTube, a link on Telegram, a link on just any link that you want, any video link that you want. You paste it inside the source attribute, and it will come here. That is all about the iframe. So iframe is very good. It's very fine. You should consider using it. Okay, enough. Let me just end the lecture here. End the lecture here. But I want you to know that this is all about the iframe. It doesn't take anything inside. This is all about the iframe. It has a width and then a height. These ones are optional. You can delete them, but just as I said, it's always advisable to bring them. Okay, all right, thank you. Hello and welcome back to this video. This is we are getting to the end of the video, and I am going to show you some of the best practices. Okay, so let's create a new file and call it, let's call it structure.html, and the normal things: doc type HTML, follow with head, and then the title, call it title, and then the body. So the body will come here. Okay, let me talk more about the head aspect. Okay, the heading is where most of our information will go to. Okay, most of our information will go to. And there was one thing we call metadata. This is where SEO friendly comes into the into play with the site. So the metadata kindly generally gives information about the website. For instance, you can come here and say meta, okay, and then the name of the meta is author. Know if that's correct, and then the content is equal to code with Hebra is the owner of the site. Okay, what this thing does is search engines will go through the site and they will read the author, and they will also get the content. Okay, when they see the name, the author, and then the content, each time someone goes to Google or any site to search for Code with Ibra. Google search engine will try as much as possible to bring this website up, because there is an information in the site showing that I am the author, my name is the author, Code with Ibra is the author. Okay, Code with Ibra is the author, so meaning this site should be included as part of pages that should show up. Aside that, we also need to provide a short description about our site, so that search engine will get to know what our site is all about. Okay, so meter, and then the name is the description, and then a content. What is the site about? Description of the site. Okay, so what your site is about will come here, and aside that, you get to include anything that you want to include. Okay, whatever thing you want to include will come here. And then we also have one other very important attribute that makes the HTML, our document, to be responsive on all devices. Okay, so if we want that, we have to say meta, and then view. Well, let's make things very simple for you here. Okay, each time that you are about to code, writing all these things seems long, so on your keyboard you hold shift and then 1. Okay, when you hold shift and then 1, then you press enter. When you press enter, automatically everything will be generated for you. Okay, these two attributes, they make sure that your website will be responsive everywhere on all devices. Okay, and then we have meter char set. This is just describing the kind of character set that the language should support. We have so many, like the ASCII, but the latest one is UTF-8 because it supports most encodings. So this is what I will tell you each time that you are about to code. You just press the exclamation, you type the exclamation, and then you press enter, and this thing will be generated. Okay, there are a whole lot of things to write in code. You cannot memorize code, so you have to learn a way of making things faster. You type faster, you code smartly. Okay, you don't need to be repeating few things. But as for beginners, it's very good for you to start typing everything all over again. So each time you are coming to start your website, you just press shift +1, and then the exclamation mark shows up. When it comes around like this, then you hit enter. Then you have everything. You change the title of the document, and then you go on with the body. Okay, so this is something small that I want to show you. To you, but don't forget your descriptions. Okay, don't forget your descriptions. These metadata, the name of the author, the description of your site. This is very important, and any other information that you want to include, you just say meta and then the name. When you bring the name, whatever key you want to introduce is here, and then the content or the value of it will also come into the content attribute. Okay, the content attribute. So that's it for let me say that's it for here, and in the next lecture we are going to look at what most people do not cover. We are going to take a look at HTML validations. There are some times that you have so many things to fix, you don't know where the error is coming from, you don't know what you should change. Okay, so it's very important to know about HTML validations. So we are going to look at HTML validation. That's what we are going to do next. All right, thank you for your time, and see you in the next lecture. Hello and welcome to this section of the video. In this video, I'm going to be explaining to you and demonstrating as well the validations we have in HTML. You see, validations is very crucial. It's very important. Okay, validations are very important. So I've created a new file name. The name is validation.html, and I am coming to do the basic that we've been doing. This is the head, and then this is the title. So website. Okay, then we go to the body, and then let's say h1 of my website. Okay, under normal circumstance there's no error with this our site, and if we open it in the browser too, we see that everything is working expectedly. But this is not the correct structure for HTML CSS. This is not the correct structure for HTML. You do this is very wrong. Okay, let us look at why it is very wrong. So there's a website named HTML. Just go and search HTML validation. Search HTML validation, and if you search, you'll see the first one that comes up, the W3C. Click on that one. When you click on that one, you can check for your HTML by URL. So maybe the page address, you input it here and then you can check. But as you can see, our page is offline, it's not online, so we cannot use this particular section or the particular part. We have validate by file upload, and we also have validate by direct input. Okay, we don't have many, our code is not that many, so let me come and let me actually navigate to this section, validation by input. So let's copy our code and then paste it here, and then go to check. So it will, after some time, it will check. Very good. You see that our everything is correct, but there's warning. What is the warning? Consider adding a lang attribute to the HTML start tag to declare that the language of this document. So it's basically telling us that our site is very good, everything is working, but it lacks the language attribute. Okay, so this one will let the site know that okay, the default language of the site is English. So that's very important. And if, for instance, let's trigger an error and look at what will happen. For now, let's update it. So we've added the language. Let's update it to see what will happen. Very good. Now there's no error to show. Okay, so let's take it as maybe I had an error somewhere that I don't know. Okay, there was this error that I don't know. Let me copy the code once again, and I want this site to debug for me. Come to check, and yes, you see a whole lot of errors. This is telling us that okay, from line 9 of column 5, okay, so it will keep us prompting, telling us that website is lacking something. It's like the closing is not coming. Okay, so that's what the validations are all about. It's a very good tool, a very powerful tool for debugging your code, and especially this is for beginners, because see, when you are starting to code HTML initially, you may encounter so many errors, and there are some errors you hardly find your way out. So with this website, you can simply come here and then you input your code here. It will check and tell you where the particular error is coming from. Okay, we've looked at one side. Let us look at validate by file upload. So we go to file, validate by file upload. We choose the file we want to, in this case validation. We go to check, and after some time it will populate it. Okay, this one to us and I say the character encoding was not declared preceding Windows 1252. This is talking about character encoding. So let us add character encoding to our site so that search engines or maybe just anything, we know that just in case of any text formatting happening, our site will be able to proceed. The character encoding helps, the character format of the site. So let's put that one. And you should not even worry yourself much to know those things. You just have to do it, because that is a way of doing. That is what makes the site good. So to do that, we just come to the head and say that meter and char set is equals to UTF-8. Okay, UTF-8. All right, so UTF-8. We save it. We come back. We choose the file again. Validation. Check. All right. There's no error. Okay. There's no error. So that's how you validate your file. And let me bring this one on board. It's very, very important to always go by the validate by file upload option. These ones are correct, these ones are good as well, but I find this one to be more effective. Okay, so try to always, if possible, use the middle option, that is validate by file upload. Okay, so this is all about HTML validation. And talking of HTML, there are so many things in HTML. What we've done here is a bit of it. Okay, but one thing I want you to know is we can't learn everything. We just need to learn what we know. Okay, so this is where the lectures will end. And in the part 2 of this lecture, we are actually going to look at CSS, and then from CSS we will build a project. We are going to build a project. Okay, so for now we will end the HTML lectures here. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next videos. Thank you.